driver Leonard Martinez for the return of her belongings. Leonard is countersuing also for the return of belongings.
Order. Come to order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 511 on the calendar in the matter of Lopez versus Martinez. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
I hope this is a good one. You dated until about 2 years ago and remained friends over the last 2 years. Is that right?
Right.
According to your complaint, he has some stuff at his house that belongs to you.
Right.
According to his countersuit, you have some stuff that belongs to him. He also wants to be reimbursed, he says, for harassment, because you've been harassing him, and for lost wages. You'll explain that to me, sir. What stuff do you have at his house?
I have, like, my microwave, my stereo, my mountain bike, my Coca-Cola porcelain doll, an official Coca-Cola shirt.
So let's start with the big stuff. Microwave. Do you have a microwave?
No, I don't.
Did she have a microwave at your house?
No, she didn't.
I have a receipt. I bought a microwave at...
She bought. We bought.
No, we didn't.
Shh, don't fight with each other.
We didn't, Your Honor. I'm sorry. Leonard doesn't like to take any responsibility.
Just don't editorialize. Give me a receipt for the microwave, and then I'll find out where it is. People buy things, they live together, they don't get married, they expect to come into court and somebody else to take care of it. When did you buy this?
In the latter part of 1999 or 8.
Get out of here. What are you giving me a receipt for that talks about something that was purchased 2 days ago?
No, that's a receipt. That's price verification.
It's not a price verification. Show me the receipt of the microwave you bought 2 years ago.
I can't, Your Honor, because all the receipts are in his house. I can't
Listen to me, Miss Lopez. You bought the microwave when the two of you were living together? Listen to me carefully. You bought it when you were living together, is that right?
Off and on, yes.
We were never living together.
Shh.
I'm just stating the fact.
Don't state anything till I look in your direction. You bought it when you were a couple together.
Right.
Then you were no longer a couple but remained friends.
Right.
The microwave stayed in his house for 2 years, is that right?
Right.
Why are you bothering me about it now?
Because I'm paying for it. It's
Good.
mine.
Pay for it. Pay for it. If you bought something in 1998, now it's the 2001, right?
Right.
You cannot sleep on a claim. Do you understand?
Right.
What else is in the house that belongs to you?
My Coca-Cola collection.
Coca-Cola collection.
Right.
What is the Coca-Cola collection?
Coca-Cola memorabilia.
What was it doing in his house?
Okay, could I explain why it's at his house?
That's what I'm asking you.
Anything that goes into his house cannot leave. If anything leaves, it has to be returned that day, or if not, the next day.
So why did you bring it there in the first place?
To show him.
She doesn't know anything about Coca-Cola.
It's Lopez. How many things did you bring him there to show him?
My Coca-Cola porcelain doll.
When did you bring that? At a different time?
Yeah, sometime last year.
If you brought a Coca-Cola collection and he wouldn't let you take it out of the house, right? That's what you said.
Right.
And then you bring a porcelain doll, knowing that he won't let you out of the house, what does that make you?
Stupid.
No, that makes this lawsuit nonsense. And you know it's nonsense because you've known him at least for 4 years, lived there sometimes, lived home sometimes, but now all of a sudden you want me to resurrect things that have been in his house for 4 years? Come on, Miss Lopez. Why would you think that a court is going to waste their time with that?
It's not that, Judge. I got tired of Leonard. He started beating me up for 2.5 years ago.
Bull.
And
Then if he started to beat you up...
Because he's slick, Your Honor.
Just a second. If you got rid of him romantically 2 years ago, and any man put his hands on me, I wouldn't be their friend for 2 years. I certainly wouldn't bring them my porcelain dolls. What are you doing with a porcelain doll?
First of all, it's not her porcelain doll. I've been involved in collecting Coca-Colas for many years. In my previous marriage I've had, I had a whole kitchen full of Coca-Cola stuff. And
listen to me carefully, sir. And don't try to charm me. It will be impossible for you. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
You've been collecting Coca-Cola memorabilia, right?
That's correct.
At a time when you were involved in a relationship, she purchased some Coca-Cola memorabilia.
As a gift.
I didn't ask you that question. That answer required either yes or a no.
Yes.
And she purchased, among other things, a porcelain doll. Is that right?
That's the only Coca-Cola thing she purchased.
I didn't ask you
Okay.
for anything. What did she say when she put the porcelain doll in the house?
Look what I got you. Because, I mean, I had seen this as an advertisement, and she had turned around and told me, you know, she just kept it quiet from there. But then after, when she did get it, she in turn had, brought it to me as a gift. Knowing that I collect Coca-Cola stuff,
I believe that that's probably true. What else is at the house?
My mountain bike.
Mountain bike. You don't collect mountain bikes,
No,
do you?
that I don't collect.
Where's her mountain bike?
Her mountain bike is there. She has ample time to collect it.
Just a second. It's there.
Yes, it's there.
So you have no problem with her picking it up.
I've never had a problem with her picking it up.
Very good. Mountain bike.
She never came by at all.
But now she wants a mountain bike.
Why? Because of the fact that, I'm dating somebody new.
Perfect.
But see, I had no problem with
just
her.
a second. But it's a mountain bike. It's there. It's her mountain bike. What
Exactly.
else? We get on that.
My tent.
Tent.
My tent and sleeping bag. They
You mean
remind me
outdoors? Outdoors.
Right.
Is that
and
hers? Is that
a
there?
nice chest.
That's there. It's all sitting right there in a pile waiting for her.
Sleeping bag. What else?
My crystal candle holders.
Crystal candle holders. Are they there?
I'd have to look for them.
Fine. Look for them.
But see, I can't be positive, though. She
If
might have
they're
taken
there-
this stuff.
She's at this point. She's sort of stretching it. What else, Miss Lopez?
Clothing.
What?
Clothing. I have pictures of.
I'm not bothering with your clothing. Understand that. Whatever clothing you left there, I will have to assume that you don't want anymore.
I want him. Your Honor, I can't go to his house. He calls the sheriff's on me for trespassing.
You have any of her clothes at your house?
No, I have none of her clothes.
Leonard, you're such a
Just a
liar.
minute. Do you have any of her clothes
I
at
have
your
none
house?
of her clothes.
Fine. Forget it. Mountain bike, tent, sleeping bag, maybe crystal candle holders. What else?
My camcorder tripod.
I have no idea where that thing's at.
That's in the back
What?
room, Leonard, in the bedroom.
Shh. Camcorder tripod. Do you have it?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. If you have it, you give it to her. What else?
Dishes. We were planning on moving in together, Your Honor.
Miss Lopez, I want you to forget it. You had an old relationship with him. You continue to be friends. If you left stuff in his house for years, don't expect to come into court and have a judge go over cups and saucers and teaspoons that you want back.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lisa Lopez and her ex-boyfriend Leonard Martinez are suing each other for the return of their personal belongings.
Now, what stuff, Mr. Martinez, do you claim in your countersuit that she has of yours, sir?
My Coca-Cola cooler.
The Coca-Cola cooler.
You know what? As petty as it may seem to you, Coca-Cola items are, reprices and they're worth a lot of money.
Very good. Consider it a gift, sir. Consider it you made her a gift in exchange for the crystal doll she bought you. What's next?
Okay, so be it.
What's next?
All the stuff that she has are collectibles. Monopoly games, they're collectibles.
Just a second.
They're worth money.
What are they doing at her house?
Huh? The same thing. We purchased them. I purchased some. She, purchased them only because of the mere fact that I was so involved in, I collect a lot of things. I'm a collector, okay, and things that are of value. Now, I purchased some of these, games, and it just so happened that she had them. She well, okay, I'll hang on to them. Okay, so be it. Thinking that
So be it.
thinking
Perfect.
that I'm going to get them back.
You don't expect me to go into Monopoly games, do you?
Well, like I said,
What else?
Videotapes. The only reason why the videotapes are important to me is because they have to do with me and my kids.
Do you have any videotapes of the defendant and his children?
No.
What's next?
CDs.
She doesn't have any. CDs.
Yeah.
Start humming.
Like
What
I
else?
said, that's it.
Good. So we've taken care of the property. Now let's take care of the harassment. You got 30 seconds. Go.
Okay. There were times where I was at home and she came over and she was parked around the corner. I have a witness here, my girlfriend. She was sitting in the dark and we left and she went chasing us down the street. I mean, all the way to the movie theater.
Yes.
I mean, that not
Are you
her.
scared?
Was I scared? Yeah, 'cause she could have ran us off the road.
What else?
Okay, there was times at work, time lost at work. She would come to my work, not once, not twice. She would literally stand there and just, totally just harassing me.
What would she do? According to you, she just stood there with her arms folded
I couldn't
like
work.
this.
I couldn't work.
You couldn't work. Toughen up. What's next?
How do you figure it's toughen up? I mean, I'm being over here traumatized.
Get
and
up.
being
Listen to me. If someone is harassing you, what you do is you get a restraining order against that person. Do you understand?
I've dealt with a lot of
Did
her
you try to get a restraining order against her?
Why would I want to do something? I was trying to be her friend, okay?
Fine. Then why would you want to sue her?
The only reason why I'm doing this, basically, okay, yeah, if I get any money from this, I'm going to use it to get a restraining order. You know, not by choice. It's because, you know, I don't trust her. I don't trust her. I don't trust her family. You know, when she started, we had to change our phone number because of the fact that her brother kept calling us, you know, over and over. She called my mom's house, started harassing my mom.
Call the police. Get a restraining order. Do you understand?
I understand.
Money won't make you feel any better, Mr. Martinez. Miss Lopez, I'm going to prepare an order indicating that you and the company of a marshal may retrieve your mountain bike, your tent, your sleeping bag, and if he has it, your crystal candlestick holders. You can do that within 5 days of today's date. Clear?
Clear.
Counterclaim is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I see him as a freeloader as a person altogether. He's a leech. He's no good.
She realized she had a good thing. She lost it, and, you know, and now she regrets it.
He was no good. Everybody told me, and stupid me didn't listen.
And now the next case.
All parties on Haas versus Hernandez. Step forward, please.
18-year-old coffee barista Rachel Haas is suing her former roommate, 19-year-old homemaker Patricia Hernandez, for the return of her rent. Patricia is countersuing for property damage and harassment.
Miss Haas, according to your complaint, you moved in with the defendant as a roommate. You gave her 2 months' rent in advance, $600. She kicked you out after the first month, or within the first month. You want your $300 back.
Yes.
She's counterclaiming. She said you destroyed some property in the apartment, and she's counterclaiming for twice as much as your rent, right?
Right.
All right. Did you have an apartment or a house?
It's a house.
And you were renting a room? Mm-hmm. Okay. When did you move in?
I moved in December 19th.
And when did you move out?
January 21st was the night that I got kicked out. That's a lie, Your Honor.
What day did she leave?
She left January 23rd.
Is there any report, any police report, anything else that can show me
no.
the date?
No.
So it's either the 21st or the 23rd. Did you pay for the entire month of December?
When I moved in December, I paid a whole month's rent at the middle of the month.
Is that right?
No. She moved in November. She lived there for 3 months.
That's not correct, ma'am.
Did you pay by check or cash?
I paid cash. 2 months rent.
You have a receipt?
No, I don't. I gave it to her in cash because she wanted to get a money order.
That doesn't
And
make
put it all
any
together.
difference whether you gave her cash or whether you gave her a check. You get a receipt for rent. Who are you?
I'm her father.
Step up, please. Do you remember on what date your daughter moved out of your house?
Yes, ma'am. It was near Christmas. I moved her out.
And did you move her in someplace?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you move her in?
Into her house.
How did you know it was near Christmas?
Because we had given her a TV for Christmas, and I helped move that into her new place.
You got a call from your daughter to
Yes,
come and
ma'am.
get her? Tell me about that.
We attempted to remove her belongings from the home, but the defendant was at work and we couldn't get into the house, so we had to wait for, I think, a period of 24 hours before we were able to get back in and get her stuff moved.
Why couldn't you get into the house?
My daughter never was given a key to the house.
Why is that?
I had asked her for a key when I first moved in, and she said that it wasn't necessary because she still didn't have a job, and she was always going to be home. I got off work usually about 3, 4 in the afternoon, and so...
Okay. Have a seat, sir. Tell me about your lockout.
Well, I had when I got kicked out, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. I left and went back to my friend's house because he was there with me, and...
Well, tell me about it. What happened?
Oh, I came home that night about 4 o'clock in the morning. They locked me out of the house. I was standing outside of the house pounding on both doors, and I woke her up, crawling
Yes.
through the doggy door. And
Okay, so now you're inside
Yes.
your room. How did you get kicked out?
I didn't want to go outside to smoke a cigarette because they were already very mad at me for waking them up coming home so late. And I had smoked a cigarette in my room. After I smoked the cigarette, her boyfriend had came and knocked on the door and said, I can smell the smoke. I said, okay, let's talk about it in the morning, please. You guys are angry at me for waking you up. She went next door and got her mom. Her mom came over, knocked on my door, and said, do we need help leaving? She yelled at me and said a lot of things to me and then told me to leave.
And you left.
Yes.
Does your mother live on the same property that you do?
No, she lives next door. And Rachel did not say the whole story. She's leaving a lot out.
Go ahead.
I had rules about what time to be home because I had a at the time, a 7-month-old baby. So I told her if she wasn't home before 2, the doors would be locked because there's a bar right around the block, and we had problems with people stealing our stuff. And so Rachel knew that, and she knew the unit was a no-smoking unit, my rule or the landlord's rule. That night, she came home about 4:15 in the morning, broke through the doggy door. We didn't hear any knocking, and we were sleeping in the living room, so we would have heard it. She just went into the doggy door, brought a mail into my home, which was an every night occurrence, woke everyone up. So then she went to her room, and we tried to go back to sleep, and we woke up to her having sex with this male in the house. So we were a little irritated by that. We tried to go back to sleep, and then all of a sudden I smell cigarette smoke. So then I called my mom, and she came over just to have him leave, and Rachel started yelling at my mom, and my mom asked her to go outside and talk to her. So then they talked outside, and Rachel proceeded to yell at my mom, so my mom asked her to leave.
Fine. You have to give her back a month's rent. A, somebody's living in your place, you're supposed to give them a key. You didn't give her any notice, so you have to give her back a month's rent, period. There's no question in my mind about that.
So then I should owe her 8 days of rent because there was only 8 days of the month left.
No, I find that she did move in on December 19th. I don't believe you that she was there for 3 months. Her father says, and I believe her father, that she moved in around Christmas time. You've got to give her money back. Now let's talk about these damages you're talking about. Go ahead.
There was holes and chips left in the paint and makeup all over the wall.
Well, she should have fixed that before she moved out. If
And she didn't.
Because you threw her out. You both made a bad choice.
Can I please speak, Your Honor?
Sure.
The danger that me and my son were in was Rachel coming home every night with different guys, bringing drugs and alcohol into my home.
How old is your
He
child?
is 8 months old.
Your 8-month-old child really doesn't know whether she's coming into the house with a different boyfriend every night. Listen to me, Miss Hernandez. This roommate you weren't happy with.
She was caught smoking pot on my porches. She is an underage drinker, and for her to bring that in my home, I could have had my son taken from me.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Give her notice. And if you don't want to give her notice, what you do is you give her her rent back, which is what precipitated this whole thing from the beginning. So you get your month's rent back, and this is the marks on the wall, stains on the wall. Freshen it up.
Terry are suing 17-year-old Jillian Bortz and her brother, 19-year-old Christopher. Annalisa and Terry claim Christopher vandalized their vehicle. Jillian is countersuing, claiming Terry stole $1,200 from her.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 12 on the calendar in the matter of McDonald, Klein versus Bortz.
Thanks, bud.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. You folks have seats, please.
Well, I want to tell you, trying to figure out this case made me a little dizzy. So I'm going to test out the facts on Officer Byrd and see if he can get them from what I understand the facts are from your papers. You're Terry.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's Jillian?
Yeah.
According to what I understand, Jillian made the stupid mistake of bringing $6,000 in cash to school one day. Is that right, Jillian?
Yes.
You were going to buy a car?
Yeah.
Terry offered to give you a ride
Yeah, he told me he would take me.
to school
No,
and for the car.
to get the car.
And you go into school and you decide to leave the $6,000 in Terry's car.
Yeah.
You come out and find that from the $6,000, there's $4,800. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Terry says, I don't know where the money is, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You go home, you tell your brother, and you probably tell your father and what happened. And you and your brother decide to go over to Terry's house to confront him about the money, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You claim that when they came over to your house to confront Terry about taking her money, that he, the brother, Christopher, took a bat and bashed in
I didn't even bring a bat. Oh, sorry.
and bashed in your car.
It was my mother's car. I was the adult at the house at the time.
Bashed in the family car. They say that when they got there, Terry and somebody else came out and started to bang on their car. They want damages that it is alleged that you did to their car and their house. Do we understand that now?
I got everything you said.
Oh, God. That took me a while to figure out.
I'm glad I got the Reader's Digest version.
Now I'm going to start with you. Why would you bring $6,000 in cash to school?
Okay, because my mom was going out of town and she was going to buy me a car because I have a son and like my car didn't have air conditioner, and I was just excited to get it.
Just give me the Reader's Digest version, as Bert says.
Okay, so I went to the bank and just brought the money to school because he said he'd take me, so I left it in there so that, because like people
In
go
where?
through your, into Terry's car,
Where in the car?
under his seat. Because I drive his car to get lunch every day, so I was taking his car, and so I just put it under the seat in there because at school people go through your stuff, and I didn't want it taken at school, so.
All right, now, Terry, did she show you how much money was in the envelope?
I didn't find out that she placed the money in my car till we were already, after we ate lunch, and she had still had the keys.
Ma'am, during third period, that's when I got to school because I don't have first two periods. When I got to school, I asked Terry, I'm like, Terry, I have $6,000 with me, I don't want to carry around. Can I please put it in your car?
Talk slower, please.
Sorry. So I asked him if I could put the money in his car. He gave me the keys. During third period, I went and put it in his car, and then I had the keys again until lunch. So he knew I put it in there way before lunch.
During third period, she was telling everybody, yeah, I'm going to go get my car today, I'm so happy. And she said, I'm looking for Dwayne, which is one of my friends and like her boyfriend. She said, I'm looking for Dwayne. I said, why are you looking for Dwayne? I need to hide my money in his car. I said, you can hide your money in my car if you want to. She said, no, that's okay.
No.
And about her saying I was going to take her to go get her car after school, I said that for a brief moment, and at the same time I said, oh wait, I have weight training after school, I can't do it. She was with Dwayne after school when she came to the weight room to ask us if she could look at my car, because Dwayne was taking her.
Ma'am, they weren't having weight training for a couple weeks, and then that was the first day they started having weight training again. He didn't even know till after his weight training class, which was like right before lunch. So he didn't even know till after lunch that he couldn't take me.
How many people did you take out for lunch?
There was 2 people in there. I was in the car the whole time. It was under my seat.
But there were 2 other people in the car. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, so now you find that the money is missing. You go back home.
No.
Tell me what you did after you found the money missing.
He said he had weight training, so I went back to the school because he had weight training still, and I wanted to look in his car. And so, because Dwayne took me since he said he couldn't, and me and Dwayne went in there, and I asked him if I could go through his car, and he went through it before I did, you know. He's like, oh, no, it's not in here, and just locked his car.
So what did you do the next day?
We went to his house to ask him about the money, and he has my brother's amplifier. It's for a stereo.
Okay. Now you can tell me what happened when they came to your house the next day.
Okay, Your Honor. About 12:30 Saturday, there was like a loud bang on the door, and we all were like, what is that? And my brother's friend opened the door and said, it's Dylan and her brother, you know, they're mad. And they're screaming, all the neighbors are coming outside because we're standing at the door. I'm telling them, you need to go. Then I saw that he had a bat. And I said, you need to get out of here right now because you have a weapon, you know. And that's when they got mad. They left. They were calling us, and we're coming back with a gun.
No.
I mean, my witness, I have a neighbor here that lives right next door to us. She saw the whole thing. She was on the phone with the police. Then we started hearing a bam, bam, bam.
Now I'm shooting.
If you say another word.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so when I came outside, I saw the neighbors, a couple of neighbors outside, and they were all on their phones calling the police. And I saw my brothers at the end of the apartments chasing after them, and they, you know, they were in their cars.
I
they were
missed
gone.
this.
They were like
That I missed.
already, they were speeding off. And so, and then I looked around the corner, I saw the car, and I was like, oh my God, you know, I have the pictures here, and it's obvious it was beaten with a bat.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the pictures. Now, what better grasp can you lend to this, Terry?
All right, my friend, I asked him to go get the door because we heard the beating at the door. He said, Terry, you need to come out there. I went out there, and Jillian was standing there with her brother. And the first thing he's, give us the money and give us the amp now. I'm like, so at that point I'm mad because first she's accusing me of stealing money. It's the second time I've heard it. First time it was just her mom talking to my sister. And we're mad. I'm like, get out of here. We ain't got your money, this and that. He said, yes, you do. Give us the money. And so he steps in my sister's face. So I get him out of my sister's face. I step in front of him.
How did you do that?
He was all in her face. My sister saw he had a bat. You guys need to get out of here. So I'm like, so he started getting in her face. That's when I stepped in front of her. And that's when he had a bat the whole time. I wasn't worried about it. I had my friends here. You guys need to
How did his hand get broken?
Yeah, explain that one. Yeah, I will. So
Just a
we
second,
were mad.
Just
but
a sec.
all right.
Shut up.
I knew you were going to tell me that. All right.
Go ahead.
So everybody was cussing and exchanging words and snap.
How did his hand get broken?
He says it happened. Well, we get to it.
You're the one with the grasp,
Right,
Terry.
right. It's all a story I was trying to lead to it. And so he left down the stairs. He was going downstairs with his sister. We closed the door and went back inside. And they're like, Terry, put your shoes on. And then, whoosh, whoosh, we hear windows getting busted. So we all run out the house. He's running with his bat, running away to his truck. She's running to her car. And me, my best friend James, and my brother Randall are running after him. Randall, the only one that even got close to him, and it was after he was already in the truck speeding away. My brother had a broomstick, a plastic one, and he just swung at hit the back of the truck, hit the cab part, and then that was it. He sped away. We were all mad. We didn't find out.
No idea.
We didn't find out. He said his hand was broken until the cop told us. If I was going to beat him up or something, he would have been real beat up.
Now, I want to know how this happened to the car.
It's my turn. Okay, we went up there. We asked for the amp and the money. They all come to the door. She's calling us white trash, all kinds of names. They come with a pool stick. They all
Who's they?
Him. He's the one that hit me. He hit me with the pool stick. He swung for me. I ducked, hit me in the hand, broke my hand. I mean, you can see it, right? So at that time, we're running away. I see something on the ground, like a piece of wood or something, because they live upstairs. It was downstairs. And I'm just trying to defend myself. I mean, I'm so angry right now, and then I just start swinging at their car. This happened after, the car happened after the fact that they broke my hand.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
It must have been painful for you, too.
It was painful. I should be suing them.
Just a minute. You didn't let me finish.
Sorry.
That must have been really painful to pick up
terrible.
a bat or a piece of wood after your hand is broken and swing the bat at least 10, 12 times in order to cause this kind of damage to the car. That must have been real painful.
It was only 4 times.
But when your
Four
adrenaline's
times that it
going,
was painful. Is that right?
It wasn't too bad.
It wasn't.
Not that bad.
because your adrenaline's pumping and you don't pay attention to what's going on.
Really? Where did you get your medical license? I'd like to hear the witness. Who's the witness? Could you step up, please? Could you tell me your name?
Tiara Young.
Miss Young, you're a neighbor?
Yes.
So tell me about it.
At first, I just thought they were just an argument. I didn't get involved with the police until he called them several times. Then I heard Annalisa say, I know you don't have a bat. What are you going to do with the bat? So I didn't get involved until I heard bat. And then there was mention of I have something else for you, kind of as if he had a gun. So I called the police. It seemed like he was instigating the most. So I went downstairs to try to see the license plate number or what type of vehicle because I knew their physical description. I was watching through the blinds the whole time. That's when I walked up, the first time, it didn't really sound like it was something hitting the car, kind of like the dumpsters right by our building, so it seemed like maybe somebody was throwing trash in the bin. When I turned, that's when I saw him with the bat at the car. I did not try to stay to see him beat the car in anymore. He had already called them. I was just trying to get out.
How was that going to hurt you if I call you a name? And I didn't even call you the name.
No, I never said
Hey!
he called me the name.
Stupid! Shut up! That's the third time I told you. Right?
I'm just trying to.
That's the third time I told you.
Whatever.
Not whatever. Is that your father?
Yeah.
Believe me, he's not pleased with you right now.
Not too.
Your Honor, he never directly called me.
You don't have to explain
Okay.
anything to me.
Okay.
You know, he's got mush in his brains.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He said, I'm filing a complaint. I want the person who assaulted me to be punished. I want them arrested. They assaulted me.
Well, I didn't do that.
That's what I would do. Somebody assaulted me and broke my hand.
Annalisa McDonald and her brother Terry claim their car was vandalized by Jillian Bortz and her brother Christopher.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Young. You have a counterclaim for damage to your car, your home, and the return of the money that was stolen. Let's get to the damages to your car and your home. Who wants to report on that?
I can.
Go ahead.
Okay, I had to file a police report with the school about the money, and they gave both of us a copy of it with both of our addresses on it. The same day that they gave him a copy of it, my house, it was just my dad was there. They threw a brick through our kitchen window.
Who did?
It was them. His friend James, his best friend James that he just told you about, his truck was identified there by 2 different people.
James?
Yeah, James.
Just a second.
Okay.
James? That's not him.
Yeah, but they identified them.
Who's they?
2 neighbors.
Are they here?
No, they're not.
What's next?
My dad knows more about what happened that night than my
Was
dad
your father
just
at
called me.
home?
Yeah, he was at home. It was 1 in the morning.
Mr. Bortz, is that your last name?
Yes.
Can you tell me what you saw?
I was asleep. I was awakened a loud banging noise. And a few minutes later, a neighbor had drove up in her house. You can see through the kitchen window. And I just glanced that way, and I see the kitchen windows broken out.
But you didn't see who vandalized your house.
No, I did not.
Did you see who vandalized your car?
No.
Did that happen on the same night?
This was the same, yes.
What happened to your car?
Same thing. Large bricks or rocks thrown at it.
Was there any witness to that?
Yes.
Is that witness here?
No.
Have there been any arrests in that case?
I have no idea.
But you plan on pursuing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Judge, about that same night, me and my brother were in our bed asleep at 2 in the morning. The cops came, asked us about it. Yeah, there's been, told us that there was a kitchen window broken in.
I wouldn't say anything if I were you right now.
Oh, but they cleared it. I mean,
I wouldn't say anything if I were you right now. That case may not be over. Jillian, so let's talk a little bit about your money. I don't know who took your money. I know that you don't put money in a car, in a school parking lot. Use the car, take people around for lunch, talk about the fact that you're going to buy a car, and then ask a court to make a determination that without any proof whatsoever, any direct proof, that somebody is responsible for that money being missing. The person who's responsible, the only person I know who's responsible for that money being missing is the person who was foolish enough to take it to school and to put it under the front seat of a car in a school parking lot. That's you. So I can't reward that with a judgment against Terry on your counterclaim because there isn't sufficient proof. The only thing I do know is that you and your brother is clearly a hothead, went to their house, and I may not necessarily fully believe these 2 people because they have a little bit of an axe to grind with this whole thing because they had the interaction with you, but I believe Miss Young. I believe her when she says there was nobody who was hitting you with bats and pool cues. I'm speaking before your brother smashed out the car, but she acknowledges that he did. If you hadn't put yourself in that position in the first place by going over there with your brother, we wouldn't be in this mess. Can I see an estimate for the damage to the car,
I have
please?
the estimate and the breakdown of the cost under it.
Now, I assume that on your side, the person who assaulted you, if you claim that you were assaulted and you broke your hand, you were assaulted with a deadly instrument, I assume that you filed a police report and insisted on an arrest. Is that right?
I did not.
Why not?
Because I was leaving the next day to go back home.
Tell her how
What difference does it make if you're assaulted?
I tried to go in, I live in Hawaii. I tried to go down there to the police station. They said just take care of it here.
You have
They
to
said
take
they
care
can't.
of it
They
here.
said they can't do anything down there because it's in Hawaii. It's a different. It's separated from Vegas.
You go to the police and you
I
say,
did
I
go
was
to. That's what I just
assaulted.
told you. I went to the
I was
police
assaulted.
station.
I want to pursue the matter. You have a father. How old are you?
19.
You have a father. You say, I'm filing a complaint. I want the person who assaulted me to be punished. I want them arrested. They assaulted me.
Well, I didn't do that.
Well, that's what I would do. If somebody assaulted me and broke my hand. In any event, I'm dismissing your counterclaim. You did absolutely the wrong thing by going over there. Mr. Bortz, I don't know who it was that caused the vandalism to your house. I assume that you have an open complaint and that the police will follow up on that complaint. It's not an old complaint. So I assume that if they find after interviewing witnesses that this young man had anything to do with vandalizing your house, you will pursue that complaint as well as pursuing the complaint with regard to your son's assault. I mean, I would be more worried about it if my son's hand was broken than if my window was broken in my kitchen, right? Of course. As I said, I don't know who took the money, but you're going to get your deductible paid. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. Counterclaim is dismissed. That's all.
Parties up.
Roland is suing her former friend, production worker Diane Bourne, for the return of her personal property. Diane is countersuing for damages to her home, stolen property, and the value of a car.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 241 on the calendar in the matter of Roland versus Bourne.
Thanks, Bud.
You're quite welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats.
How old are you, Miss Rowland?
19.
According to the complaint that I've read, you were house sitting for the defendant.
Correct.
Right after you graduated from high school, which was when?
June 16th of 2001.
That was just for a month or two?
It was until I left for college on August 18th.
According to your complaint, the defendant was out of town either on business or seeing family. She came back. She threw you out unceremoniously, and she kept some of your property. She says she has none of your property. She is counterclaiming. She says you trashed her house and caused her all kinds of other grief. So, how did you know Miss Bourne?
I had previously hung out with her daughter. You know, I go over to her house every once in a while.
And whose idea was it that you should house sit for her over the summer?
I believe that I had said something to her daughter, Shasta. My parents and I had an agreement that I would move out for the summer.
Why?
So that I could get used to living on my own before I went to college.
That is the biggest crock that I've heard in a long time. That's not what parents do. You move out and you go live someplace else so you get used to living on your own. I've never heard of that. Go ahead. Let me hear the rest.
Diane and I had an agreement that I would stay at her house during the summer, pay the water bill, pay the rent, take care of the house, things like that. I moved in on June 17th. She had already been gone for a month. When I got to the home was absolutely thrashed. There was dirt everywhere. The kitchen, I have photos of the kitchen when I got there. My friend Sharon cleaned the kitchen. When I first got into the house, there was a barbecue in the kitchen area, like an outdoor grill. An oil drum was being used as a trash can in the middle of the kitchen. She had an area rug the size of the living room in the living room that was nailed to the hardwood floor. To clean it, I picked it up, took it up and cleaned underneath it. There was about half an inch of dirt, crackers, food, grime. It was absolutely filthy, and I don't live like that, so I cleaned it up. I scrubbed the house on my hands and knees, cleaned the bathroom.
Go ahead. So?
July 3rd of 2001, I had come home with a couple of my friends. We were going to watch a movie, and I saw two cars in the front yard. And the two witnesses she has over there, one of them was the lady in the black was sitting on the porch, along with another lady named Cheryl and Diane's younger daughter. I was very surprised to see them home because I didn't expect them to be home until the end of the summer. And I asked, hey, what's going on? And her daughter, 17-year-old daughter, came out and told me, well, you're indeed. And I said, well, why? And then Diane came out and started screaming obscenities at me, accusing me of vandalizing the house, stealing items that were in the house, things like that.
And she put you out?
She told me that I was to give her house key back, and I said I'm going to need to go get a police officer to come get my stuff with me because she wouldn't let me get any of my things.
Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
And did you get your stuff?
I got some of it. What I could load in my truck, I did when the police officer was there. He had told me that he had to go out on a fight call, so I needed to get what I could and leave. So all of my stuff that was left there was now in her possession.
Well, what do you claim you left there?
A computer, a snowboard, a computer desk, clothes, personal items, things I had purchased for the house, decorations.
I don't care what you did purchase for the house. A computer and a desk and a snowboard.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Just clothes and personal items.
You have her computer and desk?
The computer desk it ended up being donated to a thrift store. It was not a complete desk. There was like a whole side of it was missing.
What about the computer that was on the computer
She
desk?
took the computer the day she had the civil standby.
Have any proof that you left the computer in the house?
I have my witness. She saw that the computer was there when I left, and when she came back the next day, it was gone.
Step up. Tell me your name.
Sharon Smith.
Tell me what you know about this computer.
I was in the house the day that Diane came home.
What were you doing in the house?
I was staying there with Sarah because I was going to be leaving July 8th to go to Washington for college.
So you were living in the house?
Yeah.
Who else was living in the house?
Sarah.
Who else?
That's it. It was just me and Sarah.
Anybody else staying over?
No.
Go ahead.
Well, when I told Diane I wanted to take my things and leave, she wouldn't let me. She said I had to leave my things there. I said, well, can I at least take my purse with me? And she said, yeah, but you have to let me search it first.
So I said, okay, I have nothing to hide from you. So I opened my purse. I let her look in it. She saw there was nothing of hers in there, and I had left. I was scared. I didn't know what was going on.
Can we get to the computer, please?
Well, I saw the computer there when I left. I went back the next day with my mom and a police officer to get my things, and her computer desk was no longer there.
What about her snowboard?
I don't know. I assume she took it with her when she came and got a whole truckload of stuff.
How long were you in the house after July 3rd, the date that she left?
I ended up going back to Utah approximately a week or week and a half later.
Now, in the week or week and a half that you were still in the house, the plaintiff and her parents come to the house or attempt to contact you?
The plaintiff did not. Her parents came over the next day, told me the computer actually belonged to them. She went into hiding. I had to get a restraining order because the officer that did the civil standby told me that she was a tenant. She'd never paid a dime. She'd rented rooms to her friends. She had turned my house from just a family home to a party house / bordello.
Now, how do you know that?
Well, photographic evidence, Your Honor. I've got condoms on the front room bookshelf that this young woman was apparently advertising. My family room became their junk room. My daughter's room became their junk room. She shut the door on my daughter's pet rats. No food, no water. They were this big around. They were pet rats. My daughter loved animals, and they were huge. We came home, and they were like this big around. And the one is just hanging on, there's pictures, hanging on the side of the cage, no water. We gave it water.
Was it your arrangement for her to take care of
Yes,
these?
that was why she went. She was over there to feed the animals. There were cats that were so scared to come back to the house. When we left, we couldn't even catch them. The kittens became feral.
Animals, Your Honor.
None? Did you know that there were animals in the house?
Yes, she did.
Her daughter came over, Shasta came over once and told me not to open her daughter's bedroom door because there was a rat loose in her daughter Sierra's room.
Did you feed the cat?
No, ma'am. There was no agreement for me to do so.
So what were you supposed to do there?
I was just going to live there and take care of the house, make sure that, nobody came in, I guess, and not...
Well, somebody did come in. You invited her.
I invited her, correct.
That was not part of your agreement.
There were several different... Excuse me.
That was not your agreement.
My agreement was for me to take care of the house.
But it wasn't your agreement for you to invite anybody else to stay with you.
She had told me, be careful who you let in the house. And I trust Sharon. She was in a situation...
You are a very, very good fibber, Miss Rowland. Looks like a major mess.
I don't
know what it looks like. I want to see which photograph that she has. She says she has a photograph of what the house looked like before. Let me see.
Sharon took these pictures before she cleaned the kitchen. These dishes and stuff was in the kitchen before we got there. This is Sharon.
Sharon?
Yeah.
When did you clean the kitchen?
The first day I was there.
Which was when, Sharon?
That would have been...
That would have been immediately, right?
Well,
when she moved in.
Sarah was there before I was. You
mean Sarah was living like a pig before you came?
She was in the process of moving her things in for a couple of days, and she asked me if I'd come over and help her clean the house. And I did, and after I cleaned the house, that's when Sarah told me that I could live with her.
Uh-huh. I don't know where your computer is. Haven't a clue. Don't know where your snowboard is. I haven't a clue. She doesn't have it. You breached your agreement with her. Your agreement with her is that she was supposed to stay there and take care of the house, take care of the animals. You did none of that. The house looks pretty trash to me, and in addition, you brought in at least one other tenant without her permission. So who knows where your computer is? You have a counterclaim. I want to see what you claim the damages because you were a tenant in this apartment. So tell me what your out-of-pocket damages were.
My first loss was the loss of my vehicle. I left California to find work. In that part of California, there's just nothing.
Come on.
So I had to leave, take time from my job to come home to deal with that.
And? How did that have
all the money that I saved to pay for my car, I ended up losing my car.
All right.
Because I had to quit my job.
It's a little too far removed. Come on. You're not going to get a new car. What else? Let's go.
I lost a bunch of my personal possessions.
Like what?
Family heirlooms. They broke a chair in my living room. They scratched the hardwood floor.
You're a tenant. I want to know what your out-of-pocket is.
The doors that she ripped the locks
show me what you had to pay to the landlord.
I don't have that.
Well, then I can't help you. You have a cleaning bill. I mean, you showed me a lot of damage.
The cleaning bill would have been my own sweat and blood.
Your Honor, I have a statement from the carpet cleaner regarding the carpet.
I'm not reading a statement. I don't know who those professional carpet cleaners were. And quite frankly, I don't believe a lot of what you say.
Okay.
You understand that? I don't believe a lot of what you say. It's too convenient.
I also have an incident report from the police officer stating that there was no vandalism in the house.
Oh, I'd like to see that. That I'd like to see.
I wonder if I could see that too.
No, it just says, listen to me, I'm going to tell you what it says.
Okay.
Everything appears to be code for. Residence is just dirty with clothes. Well, that's pretty much what I saw. Doesn't have to do with vandalism, just being a slob. The place looked like a pig pen. That's pretty much what she says, because she said she didn't have a professional anybody in there. All she did was, through the sweat of her own body, cleaned up after you. What else? You want to show me a police report?
No, it's just the contract on my car, my down payment on my car that I lost, $5,000.
First of all, you're supposed to use good judgment. You have an 18-year-old that you let move into your house who just graduated from high school. Not necessarily good judgment.
It's not one of my finer moments.
Well, I wouldn't do it. Would you do that?
No.
Well, I didn't have any reason to think that she would screw me over.
Except that she's a high school kid.
I found out later she called me and said her parents had kicked her out because she'd stayed out one night partying, and they were very strict.
That's incorrect, Your Honor.
That is
I don't know what the
grossly
reason is
incorrect.
that you weren't staying with your parents. It certainly wasn't the cock and bull story that you gave me at the beginning of this
She
case.
had stolen
that they
their
wanted
credit
to see
card,
if you
Your
could manage on your own. Listen, you're not entitled to a thing. I don't know where your computer is. I don't know where your snowboard is. I don't know where any of these things are after a year. Madam, you are entitled to nothing as a result of your bad judgment. If you had to clean up after her, that's what you did. The loss of your car is not her fault. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She turned my home into a bordello.
She lived in filth, and I cleaned it up.
She had several overnight guests, males, multitudes of them.
Her family's white trash.
She was a tramp, and she was a troublemaker and a thief.
Don't associate with white trash.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Olenichuk Robinson versus Crandall. Step forward, please.
21-year-old homemaker Jennifer Olenichuk and her boyfriend, carpenter Michael Robertson, are suing their former friend, 22-year-old fast food worker Jennifer Crandall, for money owed and for vandalism to their property.
Miss Olenichuk, you and the defendant were good friends, according to what I've read, for about 7 years. And there came a time, it was past summer, that, according to you at least, the defendant was thrown out of her house. She lived with her parents or her mother, along with her child. And you volunteered to take her into your house that you share with your boyfriend.
Right.
She did, in fact, move in with you. And when was that?
June 1st, 2002.
And how old is your child?
11 months old.
And the child came with you?
Yes.
And it was your agreement, according to you, that she would take care of some chores around the house, pay some minimal rent.
Right.
So you'll claim it didn't work out. You told her to leave because you believed that she had stolen some money from you. You changed the locks on the door. She came home. She got angry when she found out the locks would change. She vandalized your house, vandalized your car. Ms.
Right.
Crandall says she owes you nothing. She didn't cause any damage.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It appeared that she was drinking. We were screaming at each other and yelling. She went to her car, got a crowbar out of her trunk, and went at my trunk with her crowbar.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jennifer Olenichuk and her boyfriend Michael Robertson claim former roommate Jennifer Crandall owes for vandalism to their property and unpaid rent. Jennifer says the couple locked her out.
So when did you find that she had stolen money from you? What makes you think she stole money from you?
On August 8th, I was at work. I got paid $200 in cash. I came home late that night. We had a fight because I had used Jenny's car to go to work, and I came home late.
So she was angry with you?
Yes, very angry. We went to bed very late. The next morning, we woke up, and Jenny was gone with Cheyenne, and I went in my purse, and I was missing a $100 bill. Usually she left a note when she left. She left no note that morning, and she didn't call right away. She didn't call for a few hours after that. Then when I did talk to her when she called, she had told me that her and her sister-in-law had been at the mall getting some toys for Cheyenne and this, that, and the other. And I had asked her, well, you were kind of broke yesterday. And she had told me that she took exactly $100 off of an account that she has at the bank.
Okay. So?
After that, she didn't come home all day. I went back and forth with deciding whether or not I actually wanted to be kind of mean about it and just do things the way I did. And at like the last minute, I decided. And I packed up all her and her child's stuff and put it outside. She came home about 5 minutes later, and that's when things just escalated. I was in the house the whole time watching out the window. It appeared that she was drinking. She, of course, tried to get in the door to come upstairs, and she noticed that the locks was changed. And there was a lot of yelling going on. She then started throwing rocks at the windows because I live on the second story, and sometimes you don't hear people knocking. Then it went from that to, of course, I didn't open the window or answer at all. I was scared that if I went downstairs...
You weren't sure about it.
That if I went downstairs, there'd be a physical confrontation, which didn't need to happen after everything else. She used the neighbor's phone and called about, 6 or 7 times. Why don't you come downstairs? This is ridiculous. You're being a...
Why did you decide to go the nasty route? I mean, you said, I debated whether or not to go the nasty route back and forth, and finally I decided to go the nasty route. Why?
Well, and we've had a lot of problems with the friendship in the last 7 years, and the night before, like I said, we had gotten in a big fight.
Because you used her car, and you kept the car out longer than you were supposed to. That was the wrong thing to do.
Right.
So why did that end up with you doing the nasty thing and throwing her things out?
Because it was very, very loud and escalated the night before. We were screaming at each other and yelling, and I said, okay, I've already apologized 3 or 4 times, I'm sorry. And finally I was just like, well, why don't you just leave then? And when I said, why don't you just leave, she said, no, I'm not leaving. Well, then when the stuff happened the next morning, I was scared that, again, inside my house this time, I would have the same fight of, no, I'm not going to leave. So I just did things the way that I did, more or less to save.
Nasty.
Right, very nasty.
So what do you think she owes you?
The night that the whole thing happened, August 9th, after she was angry that I changed the locks, she was trying to kick in my door. It didn't open, but she messed up the door. I do have pictures. We had to replace the lock again after I just changed it. The molding was pulled away from the door, and then after that, she realized, I don't know if she realized she wasn't going to get it open, or she just got sick of kicking at it. She went over to her car, and she was yelling stuff about, she had some tools that were stored in my trunk, because I have a very small apartment. She went to her car, got a crowbar out of her trunk, and went at my trunk with her crowbar.
Anybody ever tell you that you had to give her some notice before you changed the locks on her? You just locked her out with her 11-month-old baby.
She was already planning on moving.
What I'm telling you is, you did it in a disorganized fashion over an incident that was your fault. You took her car and kept it without her permission.
No, that's not why I kicked her out. The reason I kicked her out was the money.
She's not the only one who lives in your house.
No, but my...
She's not the only one who lives in your house.
Right.
I don't know whether she took your money or not. You still are obliged. She's a rent-paying tenant to give her notice, and you didn't. You just can't say, well, I don't like this tenancy anymore. I'm changing the locks and throwing your stuff out. That doesn't work. And you yourself told me.
Assistant Teresa Taylor and her mother, Sylvia Jenkins, are suing Sylvia's sister, homemaker Mary Jenkins, for harassment and for filing false charges with the police. Mary is countersuing, also for filing false charges.
Order. All rise. Yes, case number 389 on the calendar in the matter of Taylor Jenkins versus Jenkins. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
All right, this is a pretty tangled web of family. You're Miss Jenkins.
No, I'm Miss Taylor.
Your first name is?
Sylvia.
You are?
Teresa.
How old are you, Teresa?
23.
And you?
42.
Teresa, you used to live with the defendant, is that right?
Yes.
She's your aunt.
Yes, she is.
And she's your sister.
Yes.
So your daughter lived with your sister for many years.
Yes.
How many years?
12.
No, 13.
13, because of neglect on your mother's part. Your aunt raised you, is that right?
Yes.
And there is another sister who has a daughter whose name is?
Chantel.
And you are Chantel's, or were Chantel's legal guardian.
Well, I am still her legal guardian till I go to court.
Okay. Technically, but she no longer lives with you.
Right.
According to your complaint, Chantel came to your house complaining about the treatment at your sister's house.
Yes.
You took her in.
Yes.
Your sister, the defendant, filed a complaint, according to you, that you had kidnapped this child.
Yes.
So your lawsuit is about that charge of kidnapping. And you say that your aunt kept some of your property after you left her home.
No.
In what? Shh, don't answer. In what year was that?
I left her home in 2000.
So 2 years ago?
Yes.
What took you so long?
Because she said she couldn't find the key, or the car was in the way, or there was always some excuse.
So what do you say your aunt has in the house?
Well, I have a list of the stuff, but...
Like what?
She has my awards, diplomas, trophies.
Okay.
Clothes.
Do you have any of that stuff?
No, I do not.
Where is it?
When Teresa was living with me, Teresa done lived moved around 3 times. She done lived with her mother 3 times. She lived on...
Do you have any of her property?
I took her property to her. I took 3 big boxes and a suitcase.
Do you have any of her property?
No.
Did
no.
you dispose of any of her property?
No.
Okay. And that was as of 2 years ago?
No, I just took Teresa things.
2 years ago, she hadn't lived with you. She's 23 years old. She had plenty of time to come and get her stuff.
I just
All
took
right,
her
I'm not
things
interested in your
February
property.
of this year.
I'm interested in these charges.
Okay.
Now, did she file charges against you, too, for kidnapping, or just against your mother?
It was against the both of us.
Okay. Let me see the charges that she filed against you. How old is this young niece of yours?
14.
Where is she living now?
She's living in a foster home in Norwalk.
Okay. Tell me how Chantel came to be at your house.
Okay, she was calling from time to time, like we would call to the house to talk to her, and Mary would let her get on the phone and then tell her to tell us.
How did she come to your house?
She just came over. She said she wasn't
What
gonna stay
date
at
did
school.
she come over?
The 3rd.
Of what month?
Of October.
You didn't go pick her up?
No.
She came to your house after school?
No, it was during school hours.
Were you expecting her?
No.
You knew that your sister had guardianship of her?
Yes.
How long did she stay in your house?
Overnight.
Was that with her permission?
DCFS said let her stay.
Where does it say that she says you kidnapped this child?
On the back.
You mean you're talking about this one line where she says that you went to Chantel's school to pick up Chantel without my permission?
Yes, and when the police officers came to the house, when she called them, that's what they told us.
That's kidnapping?
Pardon?
Were you arrested for kidnapping?
No.
So what are you here for?
My name was brought up in the claim, so...
Okay, fine. So your name was brought up in the claim. She also says on September 28th, Teresa was at her house making allegations that Maisha Jenkins gave her number to some guys who were in jail and stopped giving her number out. Who's Maisha?
Maisha is Chantel's sister.
What is that about?
Teresa had a phone in my house at one time when she was living with me, and Teresa just moved out this year. It's not 2001, it's 2002. She just moved out. And when she had a phone transferred to her mother, the number was changed.
So?
Teresa was calling my house saying that Maisha has gave her number out.
Does Chantel's sister live with you too?
Yes, she does.
So you have guardianship of both girls, and Maisha still lives with you?
Yes.
How old is Maisha?
Maisha just turned 19.
Well, she's an adult now. How long has she been living with you?
12, I guess, 12 years.
Okay, so let me hear more about this phone problem.
Okay, Teresa had called my house and she was cussing, saying that if Maisha don't stop calling her house, she's gonna call the D police on her. Okay.
What's that about?
No, I called over and I told her, could she tell Maisha to quit giving my number out? Because these people was making remarks to me, and my fiance had answered the phone, and he was getting upset. So I called Auntie Mary and was leaving a message telling her, can you tell Maisha not to give my number out anymore? If so, then I'm going to call the police. And she picked up the phone.
Just a minute. Giving your number out to whom?
To people in prison in Twin Towers Jail.
Were these people who were calling you?
Yes.
Were they were people that you knew?
No, they weren't.
Well, I don't know why else.
No, he called my phone number at my mother's house.
Yes.
And he asked for me and said what his name was. I asked him, who was he? Where did I know you from? And he said, this is Maisha's friend. I said, well, don't call my house number. What are you calling me for? Well, Maisha said that you easy for me to hit when I get out. I hung up the phone. That evening when I got in, I called Auntie Mary and I told her to tell Maisha quit giving my number out. And then she started going off on me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tell me what she said to you and what you said to her.
She said, "Dee, don't call my house no more. If you do, then I'm going to come over there and blow up the house." I said, whatever, Auntie Mary, and I hung up the phone.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Teresa Taylor and her mother, Sylvia Jenkins, claim Sylvia's sister, Mary Jenkins, filed false charges with police. Mary is accusing her sister and niece of doing the same thing.
I'm not getting involved in this. You have no lawsuit. Your complaint is you were falsely accused of kidnapping when you took your niece into your home. That's what it says. You were not arrested. You were not incarcerated. You were at most questioned by the authorities and said, what is she doing here? You suffered no damage as a result of your sister saying that you had her without permission.
I'm not suing her.
Who's suing her? She's suing me.
I'm suing her. I'm wanting my property.
Excuse me, Judge Judy, I'm
reading the complaint that the two of you
maybe
filed.
this might make it a little bit clearer. This paper right here will explain why that allegation came up. All right, see, I want to go into prison for a violation of a probation. Mary was aware that I was on parole when this incident happened with my niece. She called the police feeling that if she could say that I kidnapped the child, that they would have arrested me.
But
that
then
was
nobody
Mary's
arrested you.
intention. But they didn't.
So?
I know, so I'm saying, why is she suing me?
Listen to me. You're the plaintiffs in this case. You signed it. Would you show these two ladies the complaint that they signed?
Just Judy.
Okay. Did you sign that?
Yes, it is my signature.
So that you signed it. That says you're a plaintiff. You're suing your sister for filing false charges against you. And your daughter is suing her for the same thing. And in addition, your daughter is suing her for property. Is that what that says?
For false charges, that's what she was countersuing us for false charges, not us. All I said is I want to get my property and the money that she owed me.
Because
I care less about the charges. She's the one got locked up for them charges, so I don't care.
False allegations.
It was not too false. You got locked up for it.
When we refused, she called the police and told them that we had kidnapped her daughter. These were false charges. And I have a complaint here that says that you are suing for harassment and damages due to false allegations. And return... No, you. I have a counterclaim by her for the same thing, for punitive damages due to false charges. So you're not suing her for false charges?
No.
Fine. Fine. And I've already resolved the issue of property, so now you have nothing that you're suing her for. All right. Now, let's get to you. You have a counterclaim for what?
I have a counterclaim for false arrestment. On the 2nd of October is when Chantel left the school.
Okay.
On the 3rd of October, that's when Sylvia and Teresa took Chantel to Children's Service because the lady let her stay overnight at their house.
What are your false charges about?
My false charges is the fact that on October the 2nd is when the incident begun with Chantel, and I was at home October the 6th looking at TV, and I had got my doorbell ring. I asked who it was, and they said it was the police. So I opened the door, and they said, "Is there any problem going on here?" I said, "No, there's not." He said, "May I come in?" I said, "Yes." So I opened the door because there was no problem. He came in and he was telling me that they had got a call saying that I was harassing someone and that I had threatened to do bodily damage.
To whom?
At that time, he would not tell me. So he told me with some papers he needed me to sign outside. I went outside with him. When I went outside, one officer grabbed my left hand, the other one grabbed my right arm. And I did kind of resist, and then I felt them tight. I said, "Oh, wait up, you can just put the handcuffs on me because I have no reason to resist you." I said, "Why are you arresting me?" And they said that I was being arrested for a criminal threat.
Can I see the complaint, please?
This is everything. My release form is in there, too. So I was arrested on the 6th of October, and I stayed in there until the 8th when they took me to court. I missed that day of work. And when they released me, they just gave me the paper, a certificate of release.
I don't see the complaint.
On the front, it says criminal threat.
No, there is usually a complaint that forms the basis of an arrest.
Well, that's all that they gave
That
me.
says who the complainant is. Did you make a complaint against her?
I did.
For what?
Because she had called the house and she was threatening. And she kept calling back, and I kept telling her, "Don't call no more." And so I called the police.
When did she call you?
When did she call? She called on the 5th of October. That was a Saturday.
You answered the phone?
Yes. On the 5th of October, I had called her to tell Maisha to quit giving my number out.
So you called her first?
I called her first, yes. After that, she was like, "Don't call my house no more." I hung up the phone. I went to my mom. My team was cussing me out. Then she called right back like 10 minutes later, and she was like...
Now, when she called back 10 minutes later...
When she called back 10 minutes...
Pay attention. I'm asking the questions. Do you understand?
Okay.
So first you called her. And you told her that Maisha better not be giving your phone number out to any other of these prisoners. And you had whatever words you had with your aunt who raised you. Then she called you back 10 minutes later, and you answered the phone. And I want you to tell me what she said to you and what you said to her.
She said, B.
Look at me.
I'm looking at you. She said, B, don't call my house no more. If you do, then I'm going to come over there and blow up the house. I said, whatever, Auntie Mary, and I hung up the phone. And I went and told my mother. She told me to block the number. I went to block the number, and I pushed talk on my phone. The phone, when I picked it up to get ready to dial the number, she was on the phone, and it said pay phone on there. So she called from a pay phone, and then she said, B, I'm on my way. I'm getting ready to come and blow up the house and the car with y'all in it. Her exact words, and I called the police right afterwards. Because then the car started driving by, so I said, Mama, I don't know what Auntie Mary's trying to pull, but we need to call the police. My mother called the police, and she spoke with the supervisor, and she got arrested the next day.
Okay. October the 5th, Teresa called, messing on the phone. I went to 108 police station to make a report of the threats that she was making on the phone. Okay?
Well, what did she say to you?
Well, she mainly was making it directly to Maisha, saying if that B don't quit calling my house, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to kick her A. That's what she said. And I told her she wasn't coming over and create no problems at my house. So I went to the police station on 108th and Main.
Did you call the house and make these threats that you're going to blow up the house?
I'm too old to be playing kids' games.
You're absolutely right.
I'm too old to be playing kids.
You're absolutely right.
I raised 5
You're absolutely
kids.
right.
I don't have time for kids'
You're
games.
absolutely right. I believe
why was
you.
you parked in the driveway when you called the police on me?
Listen, don't speak to her. I don't believe you.
You don't believe me? So why was she arrested?
She was arrested because that's what you said happened.
Oh, my
You said
God.
she-
Okay.
I don't believe you. I believe that maybe you lost your tempers with each other. But I don't believe that you had any fear that this lady who raised you, whose home you lived in for 13 years, was going to come over to your house and blow up
Oh, my
your...
gosh, she put a gun on my mother in 96.
And it was on cops in Channel 11.
Their guns just recently got stolen.
She put a gun on me twice.
Judge Judy,
My son was in the front yard.
If it was such of a problem where they don't want me bothering me, whatever, how come this mail, I received it in my mailbox today, it has December the 2nd. She's using my address to get her general relief checks. Why is this such a problem?
No.
I'm sorry.
How long have you been living outside of her home?
I've been living outside her home for a little while.
How long, I asked you?
I've been out of her house since 2000. She knew that I had
All
mail
right,
going
just
there
a
because she
second.
told me it was okay.
Just a second. Then you
was
tell
holding mail.
me, then explain this to me. This looks like... You want me to open this?
You can open it.
Oh, good. Got her
I
permission
know
to
it's
open it?
there. I've
didn't
asked
know it was
her
in
if
my
she can
house.
bring it to me. She knew my mail was going there.
Teresa, that's a serious sickness. You got a copy of it in my house.
She got everybody mail going to her house. That ain't nothing new.
Did you pick up your check
Yes,
from
I
General
did.
Relief in the month of October?
Yes, I did.
From your aunt's house?
No, I didn't.
From where?
I picked it up from the check cashing place.
Your case file is at her house. Your check is sent where?
To the check cashing place.
So what you're telling me is the notice to terminate
The
your
notice-
welfare benefits
Yes.
go to her house.
Yes, and I went down there to have everything transferred.
And
I've
that was
already
still coming
received
out.
one. That's already closed.
When was it closed?
I spoke to them yesterday at 3:30. It's already closed.
Listen.
You need to
Miss
ask her when
Jenkins-
is she gonna
Miss
start
Jenkins-
working.
Miss Jenkins, listen to me very carefully. Were you ever arrested for a gun possession charge?
Never. That was, okay, that was in 97? No,
But
no.
that's
listen.
every year
No,
is
you're not
97.
listening to me. That was in 97 when she came high to my house and I told her if she don't get out my house, I would shoot her.
Listen to
That's
me.
just to get her out my house. But
Listen
I
to
do
me.
not own a gun. You can check you on
Listen to me
find out.
very, very carefully.
Okay, fine.
In this very short period of time that I have, I was able to very easily dispose of their claim or non-claim or whatever they thought they were going to find.
Yes.
I don't believe that your niece or your sister felt threatened by these phone conversations that you had
When her
with her.
son and her is coming to my house, how you think I don't feel threatened? And I'm on parole, how do you think I feel? What am I supposed to do? I
don't
did what I
believe-
was supposed to do.
I don't believe that they felt threatened by you.
That's all right.
I don't believe so. I don't believe that what they filed was false because I believe that you probably said some nasty things and your niece said some nasty things to you when you were on the phone. Would that be a fair statement?
No.
That you both said nasty things to each other. Would that be a fair statement?
Not really, because
No,
we don't
no,
speak.
I don't listen to me.
We don't speak.
Listen to me. You were speaking on the phone.
No.
You just told me you were speaking on the phone with her. She
That's
called
when she
you.
called one time.
Please,
Judge
I can't
Judy.
deal with you. If you're not going to give me an honest answer, then I
I'm
can't
giving
deal with you. No, you're
I'm
not.
giving you an honest. Only
No, you're
one
not.
time. I have it on tape when she called my house, okay?
Listen,
and that's the only
just-
time I spoke to
then,
her.
So you did speak to her.
And told her not to call anymore harassing. That's it.
You're trying to anticipate what I'm saying to you, madam. And you're trying to anticipate what's going to be best for your case. And I suggest to you that that's the wrong response to give to me. Because what I was going to say to you was, I believe that you each said things to each other that were nasty. However, I was going to say to you, even having said that, I don't believe that either one of these two people felt threatened. So I was going to award you on your counterclaim something to demonstrate that I believed in your claim. However, since
Ex-boyfriend, 27-year-old grad student James Safford, for a Home Depot bill and unfinished renovations. James is countersuing for the return of electronic equipment and harassment.
All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Your Honor, this is case number 569 on the calendar in the matter of Yatab versus Safford.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Ms. Yatar, you and Mr. Stafford were engaged to be married, and according to your complaint, you were living in a condo that was owned by your mother. And when you moved in, the two of you decided to do some renovations on the condo. Mr. Stafford terminated the engagement rather abruptly, and you claim owes you money for a Home Depot bill that he promised to pay for materials to renovate your mother's condo. Mr. Stafford says that that's ridiculous. Why should he pay to renovate a condo that belongs to your mother? In addition, when he left a whole bunch of stuff there, electronics and things that more than cover the value of this bill. However, he's counterclaiming for that. And in addition, he says that you began a course of conduct that borders on harassment, which he's going to tell me about. When did you move into your mother's condo?
In December of 2004. 2003, I'm sorry.
When did you become engaged?
In February of 2004.
What kind of work did you have to do in the condo?
We didn't have to do anything. We decided to fix, when my mom had decided to get a job in Boston, we fixed up the 2 rooms that were adjoining, which included the master bedroom. We both decided that it would just be nice to make it a little more homey because it would be our home for a few years probably.
What kind of work did you do, Mr. Stafford, in the house?
I replaced the drop ceiling, knocked the wall out, painted both rooms, built a entertainment center into the wall.
You're pretty handy.
None of it got finished.
Well, it's pretty handy even to start it. Now, tell me why you think, Ms. Yatow, that he should pay for this outstanding bill from Home Depot.
Because we made an agreement that it all started with a computer. We each had a computer. One was a laptop, Macintosh, one was an IBM. And we were going to switch because we needed each other's computers. And
why did you need each other?
Because I had a Mac and he records music and it was better for that. And I needed an IBM because I was working on an honors project and the Mac wasn't compatible. But then he moved in, so that kind of faded away.
Right.
And then his computer ended up crashing. So we decided to buy a new computer, and we put it on a Best Buy credit card, which I paid off when I graduated from college, and I got graduation money. So he told me, we made the agreement that if I paid off for the computer that we both shared, that he would pay for the Home Depot credit card, which was less money than the computer.
When did you buy the computer?
Probably April or May.
Does that sound like the deal that you made with her?
It wasn't to pay off one and pay off the other. We kind of split everything, so it was split everything.
No. Now, when did you leave, Mr. Stafford?
June, July, the end of June, first week of July.
Under what circumstances did you leave?
Not good circumstances, actually. A couple of things had come to light about...
I don't want to hear about it. It's not important. Did you have a discussion? Did you?
No.
Well, we had an argument because she cheated on me, and it came...
This isn't true.
It came...
Okay, you had an argument, and?
Yeah, and after I found out, what had been going on, I just took my stuff and left.
Did you take the engagement ring?
Not when I left initially.
You came back to get the engagement ring?
We had conversations about trying to work out the bills and to work out the situation after I left, and she gave it back to me. We had made a second agreement as far as a few of the things that I would get returned. And,
like what?
Air conditioner, futon, GameCube.
You mean all the things that I just told you you could have?
told you to come back and get.
Mr. Yatow, don't interrupt him. Go ahead.
And I was going to get that stuff back and then give her a little bit of money to help her out with various things, nothing.
So did that come about?
I went by the house and I went to pick up the stuff, and the stuff that I was looking for was either not there or in a room that was locked that I didn't go in.
There's no locks on the doors in our house.
What word didn't you understand about being quiet? How much money were you going to give her?
The bill, the Home Depot bill was around like $500 or $600, and I had offered to give her half of that and get some of the stuff back. Most of the stuff that I was getting back was extra. She had another television and another air conditioner, and the futon was
How
extra.
long had you been together at that point, Mr. Stafford?
A little less than a year.
Let's get to the harassment.
As far as after
Unless
the
you want to
agreement,
forget the harassment.
well, after the agreement that we had made, I told her, I said, you got to get everything together for me if you want me to come back and get it. And she never called me back with that we didn't talk for about a month or two. And I just left her alone. She called a couple of times, my parents' house, and looking for me. And it wasn't really until January that it got bad, because I had W-2s and they were actually sent to that address. And she called my house and told my mother that she wasn't going to return them until she got her money. And I never got them.
Why didn't you send them as W-2s?
I asked his mother what to do, and she said, I'll let him know that you called with them, because the minute I received them, I called and said, now, the truth is I could never get a hold of him after we broke up.
Why didn't you just send it to his mother?
I just didn't think it was worth it. I haven't opened them. They're still sitting at my house. He never asked me for them. He has my email address. I didn't know what to do with them.
Why didn't you just send them to his mother?
Because she didn't ask me to. She said, I'll let him know that you called.
Go.
So then it was an issue of, before any of this taking me to court for any type of money, we had been emailing each other to try and figure things out. And at one point in time, the agreements had been put on paper on email. And I noticed I tried to log in.
Do you have a copy of that agreement? I'd like to see it.
I tried to log into my email a couple of times and I couldn't get in. Someone had been breaking into my email. So I had sent Yahoo had sent me a letter saying that someone had been entering
Well,
it.
let me see. Do you have that letter?
Yes, right here. It says the 3 things they needed to do to get into my email account. Emails were being deleted, written.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You even say, I'm going to sell the ring that I'm not giving back to you. Did you do that?
I returned it to the place. They gave me a credit.
Look at my eyes and tell me exactly what you did.
I did.
Look at my eyes.
And later today.
Is it correct that her car was blocking the alleyway?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
The reason why I did not park on the street is because there's a sign that says no parking on pavement.
I don't care if you park on Pluto.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Andrea Yataw says ex-boyfriend James Safford owes for a credit card bill and unfinished renovations to her mother's home. James says Andrea has been hacking his emails.
You seem to indicate in this email, Mr. Stafford, that the reason that you were offering money to Monsieur Tao is that you didn't want her mother to be out of money. When did her mother give you money?
I had a financial hold on a transcript I was trying to get sent to her, transferring from one college to another. So she offered to help me out with getting the transcript sent there because it would have affected my enrolling in school for September.
And how much did she give you?
It was $550 something, I think.
Is that right?
Yes.
Has he returned that money to you?
No, he hasn't.
Well, do you think you should return that to her?
Yeah, one of the things that I had mentioned about returning the money to her mother when we had a conversation was that it initially was agreed that it was not to be returned, and it wasn't changed until our agreement changed, until things changed with us. Everything all of a sudden changed, and now I want money for this, I want money for that.
Well, I mean, you can understand that, Mr. Stafford, because when her mother gave you the money, she thought you and her daughter were building a future together, and she said, I don't want your future to suffer. I mean, I assume that's common sense. I don't want your future to suffer because you can't get these transcripts released. I'm going to give you the money that you need to do it, right? But it seems that in your emails, you suggest that you are taking on and assuming that obligation.
Mm-hmm.
And you even say, I'm going to sell the ring that I'm not giving back to you. Did you do that?
No, I returned it to the place. They gave me a credit.
Look at my eyes and look at my eyes and tell me exactly what you did.
I did.
Look at my eyes.
I returned it for credit, which I actually gave to my mom, and my mother used it to buy something for herself. I couldn't use anything.
What was the credit for the ring?
It was like $2,500.
All right. You plan on giving Ms. Yatow back the $500 so that she can give it to her mother?
For the money I was given for school should be.
Fine. Now, I still haven't figured out what this terrible harassment is and how you relate it to Ms. Yatow.
It was basically the email hacking. I have the 4 dates that Yahoo gave me. Emails were deleted and sent to people, and Yahoo gave me 4 dates, and I addressed
Other than the fact that you believe Ms. Yatow has had the opportunity and inclination to do that, do you have any proof that it was, in fact, she who did it?
They wouldn't give me anything in writing unless I had a court order.
So the answer is no, other than the fact that she had the opportunity, inclination, and probably did it. You don't have any proof that she did it.
Right.
You're going to give her back the $500? She's going to probably give it to her mother. This has nothing to do with the Home Depot bill. No. Home Depot bill is yours. You got your place. What?
When he moved in those
You know,
rooms,
just a
did
second. You want to speak to me? Stand up here. You don't want your money?
I have.
You don't want, I'm
yes,
asking
I
you, do you want your money or not?
Yes.
If this money is given to you, it's given to you so that we can, in the nature of judicial expediency, so that you're not in a position to ever sue him.
Right.
Again, this is the money that he took from you in order to get his transcripts released, which he acknowledges here that he intends to pay you for.
He intended to pay me for the Home Depot credit card. That's also one of the emails.
No, my dear. Maybe he's not swift, but I am. The agreement with him was that the two of you were going to share this new computer.
But he took my
I'm
laptop.
speaking! You purchased it, and the agreement was that he was going to pay one bill, according to you, and you were going to pay this bill. You paid the bill for your computer, and you kept the computer. Now, if he agreed to pay the Home Depot bill and your mother wants to give him the condo, that's fine.
The repairs didn't need to be made.
They didn't need to be made.
He convinced us to do them and then said, I will pay for it. It
Grow
wasn't
up.
even, it's
Miss
not even...
Yatow, grow up. Do
He
you
ripped-
want your money or not? The answer is simple.
No, but he ripped a, he made
ripped a
repairs
wall.
and he ripped a wall out and left it that way. It was
I had to
exposed.
pay to get
we
that
had to pay
fixed
to get
after.
it fixed.
Then you made a mistake in judgment by saying,
No,
go ahead and do it. Then you made a mistake in judgment.
I did.
Good.
I said I'd marry
Well,
him.
then you learn from it and you go on. But not every mistake in your judgment is a court case.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Andrea Yataw says ex-boyfriend James Safford owes for a credit card bill and unfinished renovations to her mother's home. James says Andrea has been hacking his emails.
Sometimes you make a mistake in judgment and you just have to say,
What about
I'm not going to do this again.
What about the ring that was my property?
No, it wasn't. It was an engagement ring. It was
It's a
not your
gift.
property.
I didn't break the engagement. He
doesn't make any difference
It
who
does.
broke
It's a
the
breach of
engagement.
promise.
Miss Yatow, it does not. It does not. The ring, an engagement ring, is given in contemplation of getting married. Last I heard, the two of you did not get married. I mean, if the engagement was broken, rather than having a bad marriage, that's a good thing.
Oh, yes, of
That's a
course.
good thing.
Thank God.
So
but-
the ring does not belong to you until after you say, I do. But if your mother wants her money back, then the two of you can go on your respective life's paths without ever having to come into contact with each other again. I'm going to give her back her money, and you're prepared to do that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He never gave me a reason for leaving. Now he says I cheated on him. That's not true.
Someone cheats on you and then sends you emails that says they cheated on you. And they're right here, but I guess I just didn't need them to show the judge.
His girlfriend gave me a nice, emailed me and said that I was hacking into the email and that I was deleting emails necessary for court and that I was crazy.
Well, it's kind of getting ridiculous. Someone was changing his password 3 times and the only emails missing were the ones that she had sent him in correspondence.
She thinks that I've been chasing him around clubs and bars. I've seen him once since we broke up.
Every time going out places, her coming up to him and as soon as seeing him with me, leaving at bars and stuff, thank God it's over.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Sheffield versus Mesa. Step forward, please.
Mediator Nicole Sheffield is suing ballet teacher Antonio Mesa for damaging her car when he pushed it with his vehicle. Antonio claims Nicole was blocking his alleyway.
Miss Sheffield, it is your claim that the defendant damaged your car.
Yes, ma'am.
He damaged your car after you had parked it in an alleyway.
That is correct.
Looking at that diagram, which car is yours?
I'm assuming...
Why don't you show me, Mr. Mesa, which car was hers?
Right here, ma'am. This one.
The red one or the blue one?
The red one.
Is that a single-lane alleyway?
Oh, yes.
And your house is there? Okay.
If it's the only way. All right.
I'm a smart woman, Mr. Mesa.
Okay.
I got
understand.
it.
I know.
Mr. Mesa pushed your car.
That is my understanding, yes, ma'am.
You weren't there.
No, ma'am. I was inside the school that's a block away.
The Forest Park Elementary School.
That is correct, yes, ma'am.
What were you doing there?
Picking up my stepdaughter from school.
How dare you park in an alleyway like that?
That was the only place to park during that time. There were other vehicles parked around the school and on the street.
You parked in a situation where he couldn't get out of his house and nobody else behind your car could get out of their house if they had to in an emergency.
I was anticipating not being in the school for a very long period of time.
But you were in the school for a long period of time.
I happened to be in the school for approximately 15, 20 minutes.
Well, that's too long, Miss Sheffield. What would you have this man do? He came out of his house. He had a, according to him, you're a musician.
No, I'm a ballet teacher.
A ballet teacher.
Instructor.
And you had students that you were going to meet.
Yes, ma'am.
And you came out of your house and you saw the car blocking the alleyway.
Wait, 10 minutes.
Just a second. You're her witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Stand up, sir. And according to her, you're a peace officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know her from before this incident?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Is it correct that her car was blocking the alleyway?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
That's outrageous, isn't it, sir?
It's a ticket fence.
It's outrageous.
Yes, ma'am.
What would happen if there was a child in one of those houses that required an ambulance, otherwise they were going to die in 5 minutes?
They would be trapped.
Right. So what do you think a court should do for her?
I explained to her that she would probably end up getting a ticket for parking in that alley. However, he did use his vehicle to push her car, physically push it out.
Pushed. He
Yes.
took his car after he waited, according to him, for how many minutes, sir?
10 minutes. 10. At least 10.
And you honked the horn?
Yes, ma'am.
He did honk the horn?
Yes, ma'am. That's what caught my attention.
And he waited?
Yes, ma'am.
And he waited?
Yes, ma'am.
And she didn't come out?
She did not come out.
And he pushed her car?
He got out of his vehicle after laying on the horn. I was unsure of what was going on. I thought it was a car alarm. I had pulled over, and I had my children from school as well. I had
So
pulled
you were,
over.
just a second. So you were off duty?
Yes, ma'am.
And you had your children in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
From the same Forest Park Elementary School?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you get your children from the school?
I sat in line and picked them up.
Sat in line?
Yes, ma'am.
In your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what most of the parents do?
Some of them, yes.
And what do the other ones do?
They park in the area.
They park what?
They park in the area and walk up to pick up their children.
Was this the only car parked in the alley?
That was the only car parked in that alley. Yes, ma'am.
May I say something, Judge Judy?
Sure, Miss Sheffield.
The reason
You understand I'm not sympathetic with you.
I do understand that at this point. But the reason why I did not park on the street is because I do have a picture. There's a sign that says no parking on pavement.
Listen, I don't care if you park on Pluto. Everyone who drives a car has been in a situation where somebody who is discourteous, like you are, and not thinking about other people, only about themselves, and only about their needs, and not the needs of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 people who might have an emergency. You had no emergency.
No, ma'am. It wasn't an emergency.
No emergency. But about the people who might have an emergency there, a medical emergency, a physical emergency, you didn't think about anybody else. The only thought you had was your needs. This man didn't ram your car. He didn't flatten your tires. He didn't smash your windshield. He said, I waited 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm pushing this car out of the way, and I have to get to my students. And if your car was damaged, deal with it.
Her ex-boyfriend, contractor Michael Sandoval, for the return of her belongings, including a car. Michael is countersuing for stolen checks.
This is case number 123 on the calendar in the matter of Pap versus Sandoval. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Ms. Pap, according to what I read, you and the defendant lived together for about 10 years.
Yes, ma'am.
During that time, sort of the end of that period of time, there was a car purchased. The car was purchased for you. It was purchased by Mr. Sandoval.
Yes.
And there was an agreement that you would make the payments on the car.
Yes, ma'am.
You broke up. He told you to leave. You did. And you took the car with you and made payments on it, according to you.
Yes.
And for no good reason, Mr. Sandoval took the car back, even though you were making payments. Yes. And you say that he had no reason to do that, so you want all the money that you put in to the car. Mr. Sandoval says that you were either late or you missed some payments and then you got arrested and went to jail, and he repossessed the car. You are also claiming that Mr. Sandoval trashed a lot of your stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sandoval says that he gave you plenty of opportunity to come and get it. When you didn't come and get it, he threw it away.
I donated it.
You donated it. And Mr. Sandoval then has a counterclaim because he says you stole some checks that belonged to him.
She did.
Okay. So let me hear about this arrangement for the car.
Okay. We both work for the same company. We live together as a blended family. I raised his children. He helped. You know, we had 4 between us. And then business got slow right after 9/11, and his boss decided to close the door and not renew his business license, so I was laid off immediately. Mike had to continue to work because he had to tie up loose ends with the customers. So he said we'd be okay for a few months, so I started looking for work in December. And then come the 1st of January, I got a job. So we had like 4 company vehicles and everything at the house.
Could you speak slowly?
We had 4 company vehicles, so I got to drive one of the trucks all the time. So then Mike said, I don't know how much longer we'll have this one truck, so you better start saving for a car. So come February...
What year are we talking about?
2002. So February, Mike asked me how much money I had saved, and I went and got my money out of my closet, which was in the garage that he built for me, and I had $1,000. And Mike was all proud of me, and I was excited.
Could we fast forward a little bit,
Anyway,
please?
I had saved $1,000. Mike said he would help me because he didn't want me to get taken advantage of being a woman out looking for a car.
Could you fast forward, please? Bought a car. The agreement was that you would make...
The agreement was I'd pay him.
The agreement was that you would make the payments on it.
Yes.
When did you get the car?
In March of 2002.
What were the payments?
$201.
Due when?
On the 15th.
And were you supposed to make those payments to him or to the bank correctly?
To him.
Even though you were living together as a blended family?
Yes. I had to pay half of everything.
I don't care about half of everything. I'm talking about strange...
I paid everything. Our agreement.
Shh. I don't care about half the bills. You had half the family there. Half the bills is fine. Sir, didn't you understand? I saw you put your hand up. You don't have to go to the bathroom, do you?
No.
Then just wait.
Okay.
$201 is paid directly to him on the 15th of each month. And April 2002 was your first payment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you pay him by check or cash?
Money order.
And you have copies of those?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see them, please? You're supposed to pay him $205 or $201?
It was $201.99. I just made it $205 each month.
Is that right, Mr. Sandoval?
It was $201.99, and she made it
$205.
$205 every month.
So the answer is yes. Well, I see in December you only paid
$105.
$105.
Yes, ma'am. I paid him $105 with a balance of $97. He got belligerent. Like on the 11th, he went to the doctor, and I called him after work and said, how'd it go? Because something was wrong with his kidneys. And anyway, that night when we got home, he was saying to his son, how come the C person hasn't left yet? And he's calling me all these vulgar names in front of his son. So we were just hoping he'd fall asleep and pass out and go to bed. So I just ignored it. And the next morning, he called me at work and said, why aren't you out of the house yet? Why aren't you out of the house yet? And called me every name there is. And so I went and stayed with my children who don't live with me anymore. And I stayed there a few nights till he calmed down.
How old are your children?
They are 18 and 20.
Who do they live with?
They lived with their dad.
When did they move out and live with their dad?
About a year and a half ago.
About 3 years ago when she went to jail.
For what?
She went to jail for credit card fraud. And I called her dad up and said, I'm not paying for him. Come and get your kids.
That is not true, Your Honor.
And their dad finally come and got him. It took me a while to get him out of there, but their dad did come and get him because she got 1 year in the county jail.
I object.
And I wasn't about to continue paying for her kids.
Okay.
She objected to going to jail, too.
That is not true.
Miss Papp, just wait until I speak to you. Okay. Do you understand? That doesn't answer why you only gave him $105 in December.
Because
Shh. You're supposed to pay him $202.
Right, and I had a balance of $97 that I had talked to him that I was going to give him like in the next week, which wasn't a problem. I mean, we lived together.
Were you arrested in January?
Your Honor, she did not live there at that time.
Were you arrested in January?
I left. He choked me, Your Honor.
Would you answer my question?
Because of him.
You were arrested in January.
December 31st.
On a no-bail warrant. That's not because of me.
Mr. Sandoval.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You were arrested on December 31st. By December 31st, had you in fact paid the other $97?
No, I did not.
So you breached your agreement with him?
Yes.
Good.
$97.
You don't care what it was, $97 or $197
Yes, I didn't
or
pay him,
whatever.
but-
You breached your agreement with him.
But we had talk. I mean, I've been with this guy, and I just lost my mother. You know, it's like I had a balance of $97. I just paid him $700 for my car insurance for the whole year.
When did you, Mr. Sandoval, take the car back?
I took the car back January 17th, I think I repossessed the vehicle.
From where?
From where her kids stay, not at their dad's, but her kids stay at a friend's house.
Was she in jail at the time?
She was in jail because she tried to break in my home on December 31st, and my daughter called the police, and the police caught her in the neighbor's yard, and she had and my son was also out there, which is a witness. She had all her cat burglar stuff on. She had gloves on.
Jack, he's lying.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I see you don't like each other anymore.
That's not true.
Well, if you still like him after what he said about your children after 10 years, then what I'm telling you is you got to screw loose.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kathleen Papp says ex-boyfriend Michael Sandoval gave away her clothes and other belongings. Michael says she abandoned the property.
Mr. Sandoval,
can
you just answer my questions? I would just like to get through with this case, get the information that I need. You repossessed the car on or about January 17th.
Yes.
Had you received any car payment on January 15th?
No.
Did you make any car payment on January 15th?
He took the car January 15th, and no, I did not.
Shh, just a minute. By January 15th, had you made a payment of the $97
No, ma'am.
that you owed him?
I did
All
not.
right, so you were in breach of the agreement. You were entitled to nothing on your complaint.
She was
With
in
regard
jail.
to the, I'm speaking.
Okay.
I'm going to handle this my way.
Okay, sorry.
I see you don't like each other anymore.
No, that's not
just
true.
fine.
That's not true.
Well, if you still like him after what he said about your children after 10 years, then what I'm telling you is you got to screw loose. So can we get to the next part of your complaint? Just answer my questions, Miss Papp. It's late and I'm tired. You're not entitled to anything on the car. You breached your contract.
For $97?
Well, it wasn't $97. At this point, it's $97 for one. I'm speaking. $97 for 1 month, and January's car payment you failed to make on time as well. So that's not $97. That's $202 plus $97. You are now a month and a half in arrears. He's entitled to repossess the car. Period. End of discussion. Now, let us move on to...
Your Honor.
I'm speaking. Let us move on to the stuff that you did not get out of the house. When did you get rid of her stuff?
I got rid of it December the 31st.
What did you get rid of?
9 boxes of clothes. She had already taken... Okay.
When did she move out of the house, Mr. Sandoval?
In August of 2002.
Where did she move to?
She moved to Ray and Geneva's house, some friends of mine.
I object. They're not friends of his. He's lying. He's lying.
Are you on medication?
No.
Then you better learn to be quiet unless I'm talking to you.
Yes, ma'am.
So she was not living there in
No,
December.
she was not.
She wasn't living there in November.
No, she was not.
May I speak?
Not yet.
He's not being truthful. I have something else I need to say.
There's not a question before you, madam.
Because I took
There
him
is
to-
not a question before you.
I took him before to court. We made an agreement.
About what?
This car.
What do you mean you took him to court
Yes,
before?
in
about the
March,
car?
originally. See,
Shh.
I need to explain myself because he's
No.
made me nervous.
Pay attention to me. You took him to court before in March of 2003?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see a judge?
Yes.
Did the judge make an order?
He asked us to go out in the hall and make an agreement. We
The
did.
judge dismissed it.
Listen, please. We made an agreement. We came back in. He said, okay, come back April 10th, and we'll see if everything's okay. Mike said, you have till 7 o'clock tonight to give me that $600 for the car payment. Well, January, February, March, his daughter's been driving my car. Yes, he took it January 15th out of my girlfriend's driveway.
Oh, please, I'm not interested, Miss Papp. You breached the agreement. Period. End of discussion.
You know,
I'm asking you.
Why am I going to be out $4,000? And then, on top of it, the reason I left him is because he choked me. And look at this, my dresses, he went in my closet and stabbed all my dresses. Like, there were 20 stab holes in like this. There are stab holes in this one that he's
I'm
done
going
to
to
me.
give you one more second to close your mouth unless I ask you a question. Otherwise, I'm dismissing your entire claim. Do
Yes,
you
ma'am.
understand?
Yes.
The next time you interrupt, speak out of turn.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm dismissing your entire claim without giving you any further opportunity to speak. Do we understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to know where you were living in October of 2002.
I had stayed at my girlfriend Geneva's.
That's all. That's the answer.
Yes.
I want to know where you were living in November of 2002.
Really? Most of the time.
I want to know where you were living.
With Mike.
That's not true at all.
That is not true. I'm going to give it to you again. Where were you living in November of 2002?
Geneva's, but I was with him all the time, Your Honor.
Okay. When did you get rid of her stuff?
January 31st.
Tell me under what circumstances you got rid of her stuff. You told me it was December.
It was December 31st.
Get it straight.
It is.
I don't want to hear you.
I got a lot of dates. It was January the 31st. I did ask her to move in August. She did, but we continued dating some until December. The whole time I wanted her to get her things out. She had all her.
So what you're telling me, sir, is...
I didn't speak.
Then put your hand down. Then I'm going to modify my prior order, which is if you either speak or in any way interrupt these proceedings, I'm going to dismiss your claim.
Yes, ma'am.
So what you're telling me, Mr. Sandoval, is that while she was living at her friend Geneva's, you were dating, and occasionally she was sleeping at your house.
That's correct.
That's more truthful. And she had some property there.
That's correct.
And she had some property there up until the time you probably had a major altercation on or about December of 2002.
That's exactly right.
And then in January of 2003, you donated her property.
This is right. But this is after I requested from her many times to remove it. Okay. I've asked her children to remove it.
Mr. Sandoval, when just prior to December 31st did Miss Papp sleep in your home?
In December.
You understand, Mr. Sandoval, you cannot have it both ways. You may be saying to her, get your stuff out of the house. I don't want to have anything more to do with you. But in your spare time, if you have some free time, come on over and we'll take a roll in the hay. If she had moved out of your house in August, and from August until December, you had been sending her notes, sending her registered mail, and saying to her, move all of your stuff out of the house. I'm giving you 30 days. And she didn't do it. You would have had every right up until that time to donate her stuff. Do you understand?
Yes, I did do what you said, but it was from December to January, which is 45 days.
It's not enough time.
I gave her 45 days.
It's not enough time.
And it was not...
It's not enough time. You had a 10-year physical and emotional relationship with her. And if you chose to cut it off in August, and probably excellent judgment, then what you shouldn't have done was accept her sexual favors up until December. We understand each other, sir. So you boxed up clothing and gave it away, along with other personal property that she had, or just clothing?
Just 9 boxes of clothes that she no longer used anyway, just stuff she had left, because she had already taken the majority of her stuff. It was just the stuff that she just never wore anyway. I said,
whatever,
Kathleen,
it was there and you wanted it out of your house.
This is correct.
Okay. Now, other than clothing, was there anything else that you claim he discarded?
Yes, I have a...
I don't want to see that whole tome, madam, because I don't believe a lot of what you say. Tell me what you left.
I was just at the house a week ago, and my stuff is still there in the house, everything.
Like what?
Excuse me?
We weren't there.
Like what?
Stuff my parents left me, my everything in the kitchen, bathroom, all my pictures, all my videos, everything in our bedroom. There's stuff my mother left me, painted the statuary bookends. They're in his office in the garage. I just seen him the other day, and yes, I was with him. Yes, I was there with him, with Mike.
That is not true at all, Your Honor.
It is. We just went out the other day.
Okay. Court, I will enter an order, and I'm sure Mr. Sandoval won't mind, that 5 days from now, put your hand down. Your case is dismissed. Your case is dismissed. Do you understand?
I'm sorry.
Maybe I have to, I have to hit you over the head with it. But I'm going to enter an order 5 days from today. And the order 5 days from today is that in the company of a peace officer, Ms. Papp is going to be able to come to your house, sir. Go through your house, go through your garage, go through anything that she wants to with a police officer.
Okay.
And anything that she indicates that is hers from her mother's teapot, her mother's photograph, any of that stuff, she's going to take.
Okay.
In addition to that, I am awarding her $250 for her clothing that you threw out, because I believe that since she was, in fact, gone all but sometimes since August, that most of her clothing that she wanted was with her. But you had no right to discard whatever leftover stuff she decided to leave at your house. You had no right to do that. And I'm going to suggest this to you, Mr. Sandoval. Ms. Papp is not totally balanced. Well, I don't know about you, but I know she is not. So I am going to strongly suggest to you that neither you nor your children do anything to throw away, to destroy, to do anything with regard to any property that you may come across that belongs to her. that inadvertently was left behind by her. This does not include household appliances, furniture, mattresses, tables and chairs, anything else. We're talking about sentimental items that she left behind. Do you understand?
Yes, I've tried.
And that
giving
will
her that.
clearly be stated in the order.
Okay.
Now, I want you to tell me about these checks, because that's your counterclaim.
When she was at my house sometime in December, she stole a checkbook from me. I've got a list here of a bunch of checks at all these different stores. In fact, that's how she paid me the December car payment, is with one of my stolen checks, the money she got.
Have you reported that to the police?
Yes, I have.
Are they following it up?
They are. They can't find her. They can't catch her.
What do you mean they can't get? She's right here. Listen to me, Mr. Sandoval. As soon as there is a conviction in that case, because I assume that you do not have a handwriting expert here, is that right? Is that right?
That's right.
As soon as there is a conviction in the criminal proceeding, barring any unforeseen eventuality, it is an automatic judgment in your favor in a civil proceeding. But right now, you are not prepared to go through a civil proceeding, sir.
Your Honor, the person that works at Albertsons that she cashed the checks from lives on our block. I have her phone number here. And you
don't care what you have.
She'll ID that she cashed my checks.
I don't care what you have, sir.
Okay.
I'm not calling a witness to, in effect, give testimony in what would be a criminal proceeding before she's even been arrested, charged. Do you understand? You understand me, sir?
I understand you.
Perfect. And if you knew the plaintiff was going to be here today, and if the police couldn't catch her, you should have let them know that she was going to be here today. They could have come and executed the warrant. Do you understand?
I'm not a police officer. I didn't think about that.
You should have if you said they couldn't catch her, sir.
That's what they tell me, because I've asked them several times. How come you haven't done it?
Linda Calderon for making unauthorized charges on his credit card. Linda says her divorce from Alan has been financially devastating.
This is case number 338 on the calendar in the matter of Calderon versus Calderon.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Calderon, this is your former wife, according to your complaint. Subsequent to your divorce, when all matters of finances had been resolved, your wife used a credit card that was in your name without your authorization. And it was a gas credit card. And according to you, in a very short period of time, a few days, she ran up a bill of well over $500. You want to be compensated for that. Ms. Calderon states in her answer that she believed that you left this card open for her because you were being a nice guy and you knew that she was struggling financially. Of course, you say that when you confronted her with it, her reaction was somewhat different. Can I see a copy of your judgment of divorce, please?
Yes.
You were married for 25 years?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Is that right? And you have kids?
Yes.
How many children?
2.
Grown?
Yes.
It is clear from the judgment of divorce that any and all liabilities incurred after December 14th of 2004 belong to each of you separately. Now, when were these credit card bills made?
October 13th through the 19th.
Of 2005?
Of 2005. I have a
Can I see them, please? How did you become aware of them, sir?
I received a letter of address change, and I knew that I had not changed my address. I didn't even know the credit card existed. And when I called them, they told me that I had requested to change my address, and I thought that there was something wrong with that and asked if there was any charges on the account.
Okay, Ms. Calderon, the ball is in your court. Explain it to me, please.
Basically, the reason that I was in the situation I was in is because I was so heavily in debt and destroyed from what he had done to me from this divorce, because he knew that last year when my daughter graduated high school, my oldest daughter graduated college, and my oldest daughter got married, that I had put a lot of money into that. And
this has nothing to do with that.
Well, but this is why I was.
Calderon,
this is why.
This has nothing to do with that. This is not.
I would have never used it though.
This is not even a large amount of money. We're talking about a gas credit card where it's clear you allowed someone else to use this gas credit card.
I got gas for my kids. We were all struggling. He destroyed us all.
Just a second. In 4 days, you got gas for your children. You have 2 children and yourself.
Right.
You filled up the cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know what's $98.20. That's not a car fill up. or $83?
Or the case of oil.
A case of oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 times. Let us assume 3 people's cars, 13 times in a 4-day period. So, Ms. Calderon, don't play with me. This is not because you needed money.
Yes, it was.
When you enter into an agreement, and I assume that this was your agreement, it looks as if it was boilerplate clauses. You agreed that after December of 2004, you would not make any debts for the other party. You chose not to do that.
His friend told my daughter that he left the card open for me to use because he felt sorry for me because he knew how hard of a time I was having.
Oh, okay, well, that's a different story. Is that person here today?
Yes.
Step up, sir. Tell me your name.
David Dover.
Mr. Dover, did you ever tell Mr. Calderon's daughter that this credit card was left open?
No, ma'am. I never knew the card existed. I never knew anything about it.
Step up. You're the daughter.
Yes.
Your name?
Angela Schubert.
Angela, tell me about this alleged conversation.
We were going to dinner for my birthday, and I was sitting in front, and we had just found out I was pregnant that day. It was August 18th. We picked up my dad from work, and we work at, well, it was before we picked him up for work. And we were just talking about the divorce, you know. I was trying to get to know him since, you know, he lives with my dad now. And he just happened to say, well, your dad did leave a gas card open for your mom. Because we didn't know, because all the gas cards were closed.
Let me ask you this question. Somebody must have been complaining about money.
No.
So, because the statement that you ascribed to this gentleman, well, this is what you said, well, your dad did leave a gas card open for your mom.
We were talking
is
about,
always a response to something said to him.
We were talking about how hard it was for everyone in the divorce, and how it happened. We were talking about how hard it was. And he said, well, you know, your dad left a gas card open for your mom, and, you know, to help her out a little bit.
And you went back and told her, shh.
I didn't tell her right away.
You didn't tell her right away. When did you tell her?
Maybe a week, week and a half, 2 weeks tops.
Okay, so a week and a half, 2 weeks tops, you tell your mother. And your mother didn't have this credit card.
Yes, I do.
Just a second. You didn't have it. According to you, you found it. Listen to me. You found it. When did you find it?
I wasn't trying to use any of the credit cards.
When did you find it?
When she told me he left it open for me and we were having such a hard time.
Well, did you call him and say...
I can't. We don't communicate.
What do you mean? You don't have a telephone?
He communicates through the kids.
Before I would extend his credit based upon hearsay, I would have picked up a telephone or sent him a note. Is it true that I can use this credit card? I certainly would have at least, if I believed that it was true that he held open this credit card, Miss Calderon, I would have tried it for 1 month. He would have gotten the bill, and he would have said, well, I have a $40 bill for gas. I wonder what this is from. But you didn't do that. You charged $500 worth of gas in 4 days. And then, according to your former husband, when he confronted you, because you did call her.
I actually contacted her via email. I don't call her. I had to change my number so many times.
Fine. So you didn't?
But I did contact her.
And what was her response?
She said that go ahead and prosecute her. It would be well worth it for the look on my face.
Can I see it, please?
I was shocked that he wanted to prosecute me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I still am in shock that he's done what he's done to us. And
You're shocked?
I never thought he was that cold-blooded, and I still can't believe it.
And later today...
I said, I'm calling the police. And she said she took them, and she pawned them, and she thought she could get them back in my jewelry box before I noticed.
That's what drug addicts do, not casual marijuana smokers.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alan Calderon says ex-wife Linda Calderon made unauthorized charges on his credit card.
Well, this email acknowledges, Miss Calderon, that you used this card, but you said, I figured I'd be able to make payments just like you would.
If he had a problem with what I got. But I got things to help us because I knew how he always tries to make himself appear to be generous, but his MO is not generosity. And
Listen
I knew
to me, he doesn't have to be generous with you anymore.
he has never been generous with
Ms.
me.
Calderon, then you stayed with somebody for 25 years who wasn't generous. You're divorced now. And what you have to do is you have to put a period and move forward. The economics of divorce is never easy. When you try to run two households on the same salaries that you were using to support one household, that's never easy for anybody. But what you cannot do is, you cannot say, I have a contract, and I'm not satisfied with the terms of the contract, so I can, because of necessity, because I was married to him for 25 years, because we have children together, they have needs, whatever, I'm going to extend his credit. You can't do that.
I still am in shock that he's done what he's done to us.
Listen to me.
And
You're shocked.
I never thought he was that cold-blooded, and I still can't believe it.
The retaliation was not to use a credit card.
I didn't do it in retaliation.
Well, then you got to pay it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $507. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was married to a snake, and I had no idea I was.
My ex-wife has been harassing me, and this is just another form of harassment.
It's all because of self-indulgence and selfishness that someone would do this to their family in the first place.
She actually moved out on me, but if you hear her talk, she'd think that, I left her.
I don't know who he is, and I thought that, he really was trying to be generous and help us.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Schoonmaker versus Huddleston. Step forward.
Susan Jane Schoonmaker is suing her daughter, 20-year-old Heather Huddleston, for stealing and pawning her wedding rings. Heather claims she had her mother's permission.
Ms. Schoonmaker, this young lady is your daughter, and according to your complaint, she owes you some money. She owes you some money because, as a result, according to you, of her drug abuse, she fell behind in her rent. She and her boyfriend, and she came to you for money, and you gave her jewelry to pawn. She pawned the jewelry. She was supposed to get it out. She didn't. You lost the jewelry. You want the money. Is that right?
Well, she also stole my wedding rings out of my jewelry box and pawned them without my knowledge.
For how long has your daughter had a drug problem?
I didn't know that she had one. She told me it was her boyfriend.
When she came to you and asked for money, she told you that the boyfriend had a drug problem?
She said that he was spending money on things he shouldn't be. He was doing drugs and stuff like that.
So then why in the world would you give her jewelry to pawn?
I gave it to her so she would have a place to live. I didn't want her.
Why couldn't she come home?
I have other children that I don't want exposed to the lifestyle that she was doing.
Well, just a second. I thought you said there was nothing wrong with her lifestyle. It was the boyfriend.
I don't know what her lifestyle was. I know that she was spending money and doing things that she should not be doing. That's the reason that
you
she
shouldn't
left.
have given her your jewelry.
You're right.
So then what are you doing in court?
I'm doing it in court because she stole rings from my jewelry box that I had no knowledge of.
I want you to forget about the pawn jewelry.
Right.
And I think that you knew what her lifestyle was, and that if you gave her jewelry to pawn, there was no legitimate expectation of you getting this money back, because drug abusers don't return money. Drug abusers put money in their arms or up their noses. Right, Miss Huddleston?
Yes, ma'am.
Your mother says that after she gave you this jewelry to pawn, which you did, you stole some property from her. Did you?
That's not true.
Well, tell me about these wedding rings that she said that you took.
The wedding rings she never wore, and I came upon a time when I needed money for rent, and she told me to go ahead and take the jewelry out of her jewelry box, the wedding rings, to pawn them so I could pay rent, because she never wore them. She hasn't worn them in 5 years.
That's not true.
What other jewelry did she give you?
Previously, she had given me a bag of gold necklaces and a ring that my grandmother had given her. She offered it. I never asked her for money. I told her that I was having problems, and she offered it to me.
That's not true.
What kind of drugs were you or are you involved with?
I was smoking marijuana, and she knew.
And the boyfriend?
Anything and everything.
But not you?
The only thing I ever did was marijuana.
Susan Jane Schoonmaker says her daughter, Heather Huddleston, stole her wedding rings and pawned them.
Still with the boyfriend?
Nope.
Who do you live with now?
I live with friends in Arizona.
Do you work?
Not yet. I'm a student.
You're a student where?
At massage therapy school.
Who pays for it?
I got a grant.
Who pays for your living expenses?
I do.
From what?
I have money.
From what?
doing various jobs. I clean houses and babysit.
Oh, what a bunch of baloney. What a bunch of baloney.
It's true.
My dear Miss Huddleston, you wouldn't know the truth if it came up and cracked you in the face. The wedding rings. When did you find out that they were missing?
When I always go into my jewelry box because I keep my earrings and everything in there. I wasn't wearing the rings because one of the diamonds was loose.
Don't tell me what you weren't wearing them. You weren't wearing them.
I wasn't wearing them, and they were gone. I called her at school. She was going to massage therapy school at the time when this happened, and I said, my wedding rings are gone. Do you know where they are? Have you done? She goes, no, I don't know, but when I come home, I will help you find them. And she came home, and I sat her down, and I said, I'm calling the police. And once the police are involved, if you're involved, you're going to jail because I can't stop it. And she said she took them and she pawned them and she thought she could get them back in my jewelry box before I noticed.
That's what drug addicts do.
I know.
Not casual marijuana smokers. How much were the wedding rings pawned for?
$150.
Did you go to the pawn shop to try to get them back?
I didn't know what pawn shop it was, and her boyfriend called me and told me after she left him for no reason. He didn't even know that she had left him, that he went down to the pawn shop because that's where he gave her the money to go down and pick them up and bring them to me. She told me she was on her way to my house to do laundry and bring me my rings and never showed up. And this is the first time I've seen her since then. The pawn shop had sold all the rings a while ago.
You know who she's living with now?
A guy that she met on the internet.
One guy? Or
One
friend?
guy with his old girlfriend and his baby.
How old is she?
She'll be 21 in December. I've tried to help her. I don't know how else to help her. And I feel like she needs to start paying for the things that she's doing. And I just thought here at least she would start seeing what her actions are going to start becoming. They're going to get worse. I don't want to have to pick her up in jail. And I won't.
Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you're ready to turn your life around.
That's what I'm hoping.
When did she leave home?
She left home when she was 19.
You go to live with this boyfriend?
She knew him a week and left.
Who else lives at home with you?
My 17-year-old daughter, my 12-year-old daughter, and my 10-year-old son.
You know what these rings were appraised for that she took?
I went in and I got an estimate on what it would cost to replace all of the rings.
Not all the rings.
No, I know, but it has just them separated. My wedding ring and my engagement ring set is on here. $28.99 for the engagement ring and $880 for the wedding ring.
Are you still married to the man who gave you the rings?
Yes, I am. We've lived together for 16 years.
He's not her father?
He's not her father. But you'd never know the difference.
Anything you want to say?
She told me that those rings were remnants of an unhappy marriage and that she was happy to get rid of them. And that's why she let me pawn them. And I
never said that.
I just think it's really funny, you know, she was helping me out, and now because she's getting in trouble from my stepdad and my grandma, she's got to turn around and blame it on me, and I just don't think that's fair.
What do you think is fair?
I didn't do anything wrong. She gave it to me.
You did do something wrong. You came to your mother and you said, I got a drug addict boyfriend, I'm behind in the rent, you were living a lifestyle that was inappropriate, and you came to your mother, who clearly is not a rich lady, because if she was a rich lady, she would have had the money to give you for the rent. She didn't, so all she had was this bag of jewelry, and you're a big girl. You chose to be a big girl. You chose to move out of your house and live on your own.
I never asked her to help me. She offered to help.
How would she know that you needed anything unless you came to her and said, I don't have rent? Listen to me. How would she know that you needed money unless you came to her and told her that you didn't have rent money?
Because I came over one day and I was upset. And like any caring mother would, she asked what was wrong. At least I thought she was caring. Sorry.
You got to do the right thing. You still have time. If you continue to make bad choices in your life, you know what's going to happen. You're going to end up being, instead of a 20-year-old bum, a 40-year-old bum. If you lie down with dirt, you get dirty. Did you ever hear that expression? Did everybody say anything like that to you? If you lie down in dirt, you're going to get dirty. And it sounds to me like you went from the frying pan into the fire. It's not too late. You're still a young girl. But you better start making right choices. Because if you don't make right choices, you're going to end up a 40-year-old dirty girl instead of a 20-year-old dirty girl. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step.
Is suing her ex-boyfriend, contractor Robert DiFrancesco, for rent and for trying to strangle her. Cindy claims the assault took place at the end of their month-long drug binge.
Yes, this is case number 374 on the calendar in the matter of Blankenship versus DiFrancesco. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Blankenship, according to what I read, you and the defendant met at a bar, and he came home with you the same evening and stayed for a while. And according to your complaint, you had an agreement with him that he was going to pay you rent.
Yes, Your Honor.
And he stayed with you, I don't know, 3-4 weeks. He didn't pay any rent. And then you got into some sort of an altercation with him and claimed that he assaulted you.
Yes.
Mr. DiFrancesco says there was never an agreement to pay you rent, that he spent 5 months in jail because you made false charges of assault against him. He was ultimately released, and you want a certain amount of money for rent and $1,500 for this alleged assault.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Okay. On what day did you meet Mr. DiFrancesco?
It was the beginning of May.
In the evening?
Yes.
And you met him for the first time?
Yes, I did.
And he came home with you?
Yeah, we ended up going to my house. We were going to have a drink at my house. 3 days later, he's still at my home.
Okay, 3 days later, did you say? Yeah. Well, 3 days later, I assume you let him stay. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, tell me about this agreement that you allege about rent.
Well, as I said, 3 days later, he's still at my house. He informed me that he didn't have any place to go. He had just gotten out of jail, which I wish I had known that, or else if I had, I wouldn't have let him come to my home. Told me he had nowhere to go, and we had both decided, let's try a fast, instant relationship, see what happens. Told him he wasn't going to live with me for nothing. He said he was a hard worker. He had no problem paying me $125 a week. The 30 days that he was with me, he worked maybe 2 days. All of his money went on cocaine. So that's what basically he felt that he was going to be doing at my house. And towards the end of it, I said I had enough.
Now, towards the end of it, I had enough is what I want to hear about, the night of this alleged assault. I'd like you to tell me in your own words what happened, Miss Blankenship.
We had been drinking at my house that day.
You do a lot of drinking?
Yeah, we had been out.
And he does a lot of drinking?
Yeah.
Do you also do drugs, or you just drink?
I didn't skip back into drugs until I hooked up with Bobby.
So then the answer is, so that the answer is for the 30 days that you were together in your house, you were both drinking and doing drugs?
Yes.
And I assume he was purchasing the drugs?
No, I was. He didn't have any money.
Okay, so you were purchasing the drugs and giving it to him?
Basically, we were doing them together.
No. If you bought them and gave them to him. Is that what you're telling me? Oh. So tell me about the last night that you were together, the night of this alleged assault.
We had been out at one of the local bars drinking. We got I believe it was a 12-pack, went back to my house. When that was all done, we went back out drinking. I suggested that we get something to eat. I was going to get Chinese food. He said, fine, went home. I was getting the food ready, putting it on plates and everything. I turned around. Bobby's leaning up against the counter with his pants down to the floor, offering me something other to eat than the Chinese food.
And?
I was quite appalled by this whole thought at the moment. I went into the living room. I sat down. I figured I'd try and calm down for a few minutes. I went into the kitchen. He's now eating the Chinese food.
By this time, he's dressed himself?
Yeah.
And he's eating the Chinese food?
Yes.
And what happened?
I asked him if he wanted some rice with the food, and I threw a box of beef fried rice at him.
So you assaulted him with the rice?
No, I threw the rice at the floor.
No, your hand motion was?
Well, I threw the rice, but it wasn't at him physically. It was at the floor.
Well, that's not what you say in your complaint, by the way. You say that you started to throw the Chinese food at him.
In his direction.
In his direction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what happened after you were throwing the Chinese food in his direction?
Well, I ended up asking him if he needed some sweet sauce with it. After that, we ended up getting into an argument. It boiled down to I was sitting at a chair at the kitchen table trying to figure out what we were going to do with this relationship. We got into an argument. He lunged over the kitchen table, grabbed me by the throat, and started to strangle me.
Miss Blankenship, you left something out, madam, that you put in your complaint. And that was that there was a time that Mr. DiFrancesco just said, I want to get out of here. And that was before you started with the food fight.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to go to the door to leave and get his clothes and leave. And you say in your complaint that you prevented him from leaving.
I, for whatever stupid reasons, didn't want him to take his clothes at the time. I felt that he owed me money for being there, and I figured that we'd straighten it out at some other time.
So you blocked the door?
I blocked the door.
And it was after you blocked the door that he lunged at you?
Shortly after that.
Now, you called the police and had him arrested.
When I could get to a phone, I called the police. He ripped the phones out of the wall.
Now, when did you finally get to the police?
After I got his hands off my throat.
Okay. So he took his hands off your throat, you called the police, and I assume you let him leave at that point.
I didn't let him leave. He went running out the door. This is after he pulled the alarm system out of the wall. I tried calling 911 from 2 telephones. He kept pulling the phones out of my hand, pressing the off button.
At that
so
point,
I
I assume, Miss Blankenship, that you were ready to let him leave.
Yeah.
Now, what hospital did you go to?
I didn't.
So if you didn't go to a hospital, I assume you weren't injured.
I was injured, but there wasn't anything that I felt that they could do to me
How
that
were
was
you
going to
injured?
make the marks go away.
How were you injured?
By him strangling me. I had marks on my arm, on my face.
Did you take any
I have
photographs
the
of it?
police report and pictures.
I'd like to see.
Plus, I didn't go right to the hospital, or I didn't go to the hospital because the police wanted me to go to the police station. I was down there for about 3-4 hours.
I noticed that in your statement to the police, you didn't tell the police that Mr. DeFrancesco wanted to leave, or that the mess that they observed in the kitchen of the Chinese food all over the place was the result of you throwing it all over the place. How come you didn't tell them that?
Oh, I don't recall whether I did or didn't.
You
Your
didn't.
Honor.
Trust me, you didn't.
Well, regardless of that, he has no rights to try to strangle me.
You had no right to try to keep him in the house.
Oh, I didn't physically block his entrance from
That's
leaving.
what you
the
said.
door
That's
was
exactly
right there.
That's exactly what you said.
I stopped him from getting his clothing, not from walking out the door.
No, that's not what you said, madam. You said, when I returned, I was still so angry that I started to throw food at him. He was going to get his stuff and leave, but I was too angry to let him leave with his clothes. I blocked the door.
I blocked the door from him getting his clothes in the bedroom.
So why didn't you let him get his clothes? You were both too drunk.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your Honor, she assaulted me on other occasions, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. I don't hit women.
Mr. DeFrancesco, how come you spent 5 months in jail?
I was on probation, but I was charged with assault with intent to murder, and intimidating a witness.
And later today,
I was trying to do her a favor. That's it.
You did do her a favor.
Yeah.
Then what are you bothering me for?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cindy Blankenship says ex-boyfriend Robert DeFrancesco owes for strangling her. Robert says Cindy threw Chinese food at him.
Madam, he'd been drinking, according to you, for days. Drinking and doing drugs for days. All right, I'm prepared to hear you, Mr. DeFrancesco.
Your Honor, I first met Cindy. She's right, I did get
I
out of
heard
jail.
that how you met her. You met her at a bar. You went home with her and you stayed too long.
No, I went home with her, and that night I left. At 5 in the morning, some other gentleman caller called, and I had to leave, and she brought me to my brother's house. And then the next day, I went to see her. We did some gardening work, whatever. And
Could you look at me instead of looking over there?
oh, I'm sorry. Off and on, we stayed together for about 3 weeks. I'd see her for a few days. It would be okay. Then she'd start yelling at me for stupid little things, and it would get all crazy. And I'd say, you know, I'm going to leave. So one time she called the police, and I'd already left. But
He was trying to run my household.
Could you look at me when you're speaking, sir?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Your Honor. When the cops came, they just came because she just wanted me to leave, and I'd already left. So I told her, I said, you know, I'm on probation and stuff like that. I can't have any problems with the police, so I don't think this is going to work out. So to make a long story short, we'd gone back and forth.
You're still looking over there.
Back and forth, and then another time the police came to get me. You know, the same thing. I just left. I had my bag of clothes. It was raining out. I left.
You shouldn't be drinking with her, sir. I mean, but the problem is you're two drunks living together.
Well, Your Honor, the day in question of the day that I got arrested, I was working all day. I was working all day. She was at the bar. She was supposed to be going to get her motorcycle license or whatever, but it got done early. She came home. So then I got upset with her. I'd already told her a few times, you know, if this continues, we're not going to stay together. I can't handle this. You're too abusive.
It was the other way around,
me.
Your Honor.
Your Honor, she assaulted me on other occasions. You know what I mean, and stuff like that. I don't hit women. You know, she was hitting me.
Mr. DeFrancesco, how come you spent 5 months in jail? Were you on probation or parole?
I was on probation, but I was charged with assault with intent to murder. and intimidating a witness. That's what I was charged with.
Okay. And those charges were ultimately tossed.
They were dropped because she pled the fifth, because she didn't want to perjure herself.
Well, for whatever reason, they should have been dropped a long time ago. What had you just been released from jail for?
Assault and battery, malicious damage. I got into a big fight at a bar. I did like 2 years.
Mr. DeFrancesco, may I suggest to you, sir, that you are not a good drunk? Do you understand? You're not a good drunk. And if you're going to continue to drink, I wouldn't take up with somebody who is also a bad drunk. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All
That's
right.
what I
How
tried
old
to
are
do.
you, sir?
I'm 42 years old.
You look every day of it, Mr. DeFrancesco. You're getting old before your time, sir.
Well, Your Honor, I did try to leave. That's why, that's why I feel it's bogus.
Miss Blankenship, you don't have a case. He didn't try to murder you. You were two
If he
drunks
didn't try to
having...
murder me,
Listen
Your
to
Honor, why did they charge him with attempted murder from the marks all over me?
Listen to
why
me.
did I call 911?
I'm telling you why you called 911, because he finally got fed up with you, and he probably did try to choke you. That's why. That's not attempted murder, just like you throwing Chinese food at him is not assault. You want to drink and do drugs with somebody who also drinks and does drugs? That's what happens. What are you bothering me for? Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I tried to get out of the relationship, and it just ended up being violent.
It's obviously started a different way from him dropping his drawers to the floor and so on, making any type of sexual advances that he wanted to happen. So, I mean, it's insane.
Those are personal issues. That's stuff that normal people do, It's just that it just got carried away.
Him and I being together, drinking, not knowing what kind of relationship we were going to get into. So I wish it had never started from the beginning.
Of course, if you drink and drug, it's going to cause problems, But what she stated, that just shows that's one of her traits, you know what I mean? She just talks crazy.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Trathan versus Riffett, step forward, please.
Maintenance technician Joseph Trathan is suing his ex-girlfriend, inventory auditor Joelle Riffett, for the balance on a Dodge Stratus. Joelle claims the vehicle is Joseph's responsibility.
Mr. Trathan, according to your complaint, the defendant, who was your girlfriend, you have a child together, owes you for some money for a car.
Yes.
And Miss Riffett, I don't know. I tried to figure out her answer, but it was all kind of very soft. She says you agreed to assume the losses for the car when you sold it. However, we're going to ferret out the truth. When did you purchase this car along with Miss Riffett? In what year?
I co-signed, I believe, in 01.
When did you buy the car?
June of 2000.
What kind of car did you buy?
A Dodge Stratus.
It was your car?
Yes.
And he co-signed the loan because you couldn't get it without his co-signature, is that right?
We actually were both on the loan equally. It was...
Because you couldn't get it by yourself?
It was a lower interest that way.
Because you couldn't get it by yourself?
Yes.
And you kept the car from June of 2000 until when?
April 2004.
And what did you do with it?
Well, what happened was I left the house. I left him in October, and I tried maintaining the payments.
October of 2003?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was doing it. I had an apartment on my own, and I was trying to raise both my children, and I was having a hard time struggling making the payments because they were $330. Okay. And we had discussed it, and I asked him if he can help me out by taking the car because I can't afford it no more, so I can get a less expensive car. And the day before I gave it back to him, I called him and said, hey, Nissan called me, and they said they got a car for me for $4,500, which made my payments to be $170. Are you still willing to take it? Because I still had one more day to tell Nissan I didn't want it if he didn't agree. So he said, yeah, that's fine. We made arrangements. I dropped it off the car, and I put both sets of keys underneath the driver's seat. And after that, after I dropped it off on the 30th, I thought everything was done and fine. We were on good terms. I wasn't expecting any of this.
How much child support does he pay?
He pays me $205 now, but at the time...
Don't tap.
Okay.
$205 a what?
A week.
And how much child support do you get from the father of your other child?
$100 a week.
So you get twice that from him?
Now.
What were you getting before?
He was only giving me $100 a week.
And when did it double? Put your hand down.
September.
You're the girlfriend?
I'm the fiance, ma'am.
Fiance. We don't need you. We don't need to hear from you.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Good.
On September 27th, we went to court, and that's when they distinguished $205 a week.
Now, sir, Ms. Riffett says that you agreed to take... Stop shaking your head. You look like making me seasick. Ms. Riffett says that you agreed to take the car and sell it. I assume sell it. Is that right?
No.
Well, tell me what you agreed to do.
I agreed to try to help her sell the car. I talked to my neighbors, some people at work, try to get rid of the car if I could.
Well, when she told you she wanted to get rid of the car, what did you say to her?
I said I would try. Yeah, I would say I would try to help you get rid of the car if I could. If I can't, that's your responsibility. It was your car. I'm not going to take the loss.
You told her that? You told her those things?
Yes.
Yeah.
I said it's not my.
And what happened when she dropped the car off with the keys at your house?
Well, I didn't want to take on the responsibility of the extra car payment, or if I couldn't make it, going against my credit. So I gave myself like a month time limit to try to get rid of it because my neighbor was talking to her mom about trying to buy it. And then she got a hold of me. I couldn't sell it to her, so I went to CarMax, see how much they could offer to me for it.
Why did you try to sell it privately, put an ad in the paper?
Because I didn't want to continue making the payments. And also, if she's saying she couldn't afford it, when she moved out of the house, we split the equity in the house. I gave her a $10,000 check for the equity of the house several months later, which she knew she was going to get money for that.
You shouldn't have taken the car, sir. You have to have a contract with her.
I didn't take it. She left it on me.
Not have taken the car. You should have taken it back to her with the keys and said, this is your problem, this is your car, you've had it for 4 years, I'm not doing anything with it. But once you assume the responsibility by trying to sell it and then going ahead and selling it to somebody else, you can't come back against her for the difference. You didn't have a contract with her.
I was trying to do her a favor. That's it.
That's fine. You did her a favor. You did do her a favor.
Yeah.
Then what are you bothering me for?
Because, and then she's saying she couldn't afford it, but she, gave it to me in April? That's 5 months later.
You have to have a contract with her. An agreement, oral, written. And the oral or written agreement says, if you sell the car at a loss, I will pay the difference. You didn't have that contract with her.
No, but I know I couldn't let it sit there and not have anyone make payments on it. She could give me
What
half
happens,
the
sir,
money.
is that after she stops making payments, they're going to repossess the car. If she let that happen. Now, she may not have let that happen because she has a job and she doesn't want her credit destroyed. But once you assume the responsibility by selling the car without a contract, oral or written, with her, you cannot then come to court and say, well, she should have done this. She should have made the payments. She should not have put me in that position. She should not have dropped the car off at my house. She dropped the car off, you took the car, and you sold it. That's your problem.
But I was trying to do the right thing.
Good.
And I didn't want it affecting my credit. It would have been too late if I would have waited for something like that.
I have to tell you, sir, I'm very sympathetic with you. You should not have done it. This is a court. Courts deal with contracts. You did not have a contract with her.
I have contracts on how much I paid
Sorry.
on it.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Shinoma is suing former tenant, 21-year-old Deborah Drake, for rent and damages to their home. Deborah says Hiroshi snooped through her room.
It's case number 68 on the calendar in the matter of Noma versus Drake.
You don't know what's underneath them.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ottoman versus Richardson. Step forward.
21-year-old student Joseph Ottoman is suing fellow student Timothy Richardson for assaulting him outside a bar. Timothy says a drunken Joseph and his female friends started the fight.
Mr. Ottoman, it is your claim that the defendant assaulted you outside of a bar.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Richardson says that there was an altercation outside the bar, but that altercation was started by you and finished by him, right?
Correct.
When was it?
It was August 28th.
And what's the name of the bar you were in?
The bar I saw these guys in earlier was called the Mystique.
That's where you had been for the evening?
Well, that was one of the places.
Is that the last place that you were in?
No, ma'am.
Well, what's the last place?
A bar called Zydeco's.
How many bars had you been to in total that evening?
Those two.
What time had you arrived at Mystique?
Probably around 10.
Who were you with?
I arrived by myself. I was meeting 2 girls down there.
What time did you leave Mystique?
Oh, must have been around midnight.
And that's when you went to this Zydeco's. And how long did you stay there?
Till it closed.
What time?
2.
Who drove?
We walked. One of the girls I was with lives about 2 blocks away from downtown, and we were walking to her house from there.
What happened when you left Zydeco's and you were walking home at 2 o'clock in the morning?
We were walking home to this girl's house. She points them out. They were across the street from us. She's all, there's those guys that were talking to me earlier. They start saying some things. I'm on my phone. I'm not paying attention. All of a sudden, I hear, F you, slut, blah, blah, blah. I say, what's going on here? I go run up to them. And I mean, it was a very awkward situation. I mean, 2 in the morning, all of us, 21, 22, nobody there was sober. It was a very drunken situation.
Well, that's good.
It could have very easily been avoided.
Mr. Rodderman, that's the first good thing that you've said to me, sir. You said we were all drunk.
Sure.
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Rodderman, you can't speak for anybody else, so I assume that what you're really saying was, I was drunk.
Sure.
So you acted with a certain amount of reckless abandon by running across the street.
I agree.
Good. Now, what happened when you got there?
Words were exchanged.
By the way, who were you talking to on the phone?
I couldn't tell you.
What do you mean you couldn't tell me? You said you were on the phone.
Yeah. Well, actually, I do know it's a girl named Corey. She was one of the ones that was actually there, but she was inside for some reason. I don't know why I was calling her.
I don't understand why you were talking to her if she was inside. Did she call you?
I couldn't tell you.
You couldn't because you don't remember?
No, I don't know why I was calling her. I was with her.
Okay. You don't know why you were calling her. So you ran across the street and you said what to Mr. Richardson?
Well, actually, Ashley ran across the street and I followed her.
Ashley?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was also drunk?
Yes. The one that they were talking to.
What did she say when she went running across the street?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
And you went running after her?
Yes, ma'am.
Keep going.
After I get over there, words were exchanged. Started a little scuffle. I don't know exactly.
What do you mean a scuffle? I don't understand what that means, scuffle.
Sizing each other up, I guess.
I don't know what that means, sizing each other up.
There was no physical contact until I turned around, walking away, about 5 steps away, not even looking at this guy, runs up, hits me in the back of my head, and I fall down on my face. I bust 2 teeth out on the concrete.
Mm-hmm. And you hadn't hit him?
And he jumps in his car.
Just a second. And you hadn't hit him?
No.
And
no physical contact whatsoever.
And you're positive of that?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what the assault is about?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So what you're saying is you were too drunk, you didn't connect?
Right.
He did.
When my back was turned and I was walking away.
Listen to me. You know what happens sometimes?
What?
Doodle happens.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joseph Ottoman says he was assaulted outside a bar by fellow student Timothy Richardson. Timothy says Joseph started it, and he finished it.
Now we'll hear you, Mr. Richardson.
Well, first off,
Listen to me. See my eyes?
Yeah.
That's where your eyes are going to be. Not on your shoes, not on your hands. Right here.
Okay. Where the altercation happened, it was like 2 blocks behind Old Town, where all the bars were. And I was with some other friends that were out there, and I was walking with them. I lost my ride, and so I got on the cell phone, and as I got off the phone, I heard this Ashley, I presumed was his girlfriend, why the whole thing got started in the first place. And I heard her say something to me. I replied with no vulgarity. I just looked over, I replied nice. I was like, hey, girl, what's up? And before she even said anything, he came out and started saying, oh, you know, F you, F this, you talking, blah, blah, all of that. And I was like, I'm not even talking to you. What's your problem? And then he came out into the middle of the street and was challenging me to come to him. And, like, I don't have a habit of going and picking a fight when I'm outnumbered and all that. So I was just like, okay, yeah, that's right, I'll keep walking away. He's like, yeah, you know, you effing P word, keep walking away. I was like, all right, buddy, that's right, I'll keep walking away. So when I got to the car, he came and he got in my face, and that was the only time that I remember saying anything vulgar at all, because he was in my face. And And then on the second encounter, I tried to get away, and it's in the police report. He's like, yeah, that's right, get back in your effing Subaru. And he was in my face, and then when he tried to sidestep him, that's when confrontation arose. He pushed me, and the next thing I know, he comes at me, punching me. And he actually connected with the last punch. He hit me in the lip. I fell down. I yelled for Chris, and that's when he rose his hands up, and he's like, I'll F Chris up. And when he backed up and put his hands up, I didn't want it, because I was kind of on my knees. I felt vulnerable. So I jumped up, hit him in the side of the face, and he had fell down. And then his other friend came to us trying to confront us. He's like, oh, what have you done? Because I saw that I hit him once, he fell to the ground, and I knew, he was in bad shape. And then his other friend came to us, and at that point, I thought the best thing to do was to leave, and we got out of there.
Okay. Who's Emily?
She was a lady who lived in the apartment building right in front of where...
Yes! The only one who's not a friend, who says there was a lot of cursing, both sides. Doesn't know who started the physical fight, but there was definitely an acknowledgement of a fight. 3 or 4 punches were thrown by each guy. Then the fella in the white pants hit another fella in the neck or head, and Joe fell face first into the street. I came outside to help. I kept him from getting up before the ambulance arrived. Emily says she saw lots of fighting before you got hit, sir.
It was drunken fighting. You gotta understand there was no contact made. I understand I was drunk. I admit that.
Listen to me. If you were drunk and there was lots of fighting, she says she saw a lot of fighting. So what you're saying is you were too drunk, you didn't connect.
Right.
He did.
When my back was turned and I was walking away.
Listen to me. He did.
Right.
He connected.
Okay.
You were too drunk to connect.
Right.
Why are you here?
Because I was walking away, calling it a night. When he decided to connect was when I was walking away, trying to get out of there. I didn't want any more to do with the situation. I was already talking to him, face back to this guy. He decides, runs up, hits me in the back of the head, jumps in his car, and takes off.
You know what happens sometimes?
What?
Doodle happens. That's what happens when you're drunk and stupid. You know who started it? You and Ashley. You know who finished it? He did. You started it. He finished it. Stop being a crybaby. That's what happens when you're 21 years old and drunk and stupid. Things happen. And you ended up without 2 front teeth. That's your fault. It's not my fault. It's not his fault. Sometimes when you act drunk and stupid, you get the worst of the fight. Ends up on your face. That's what happens sometimes. So if you want to take this as a good life's lesson, sir, you don't drink until you're so stupid that you don't remember who you're talking to on the phone, what you're talking about. You stay sober enough to remain in control of your actions. And when you don't come crying to courts and say, you got to help me now because I was drunk and stupid. I make myself clear to you. Your case is dismissed.
15-year-old Mary Rita and her mother, 42-year-old hotel supervisor Rhonda Turner. Sheindlin says Mary stole her car and totaled it.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor, this is case number 592 on the calendar in the matter of Fox versus Rita Ann Turner. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Miss Fox, your car was stolen.
Correct.
When was it stolen?
It was stolen October 6, 2001.
And from where was it taken?
From our apartment complex.
What kind of car was it?
It was a 1990 Toyota Camry.
And somehow you came into possession of that car, you're going to tell me how, and totaled it, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you want the defendant and her mother to be responsible for the damage.
Correct.
What time of the day did you find the car missing?
The car was missing at approximately 8:20 p.m.
Okay. Now, when did you see the car, Miss Rita?
October the 8th.
Tell me where.
They drove up to meet me.
Who's they?
Marcus and...
Marcus who?
Your Honor.
And who else?
Fallon and Renee, Your Honor.
So there were 3 people in the car?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you said they drove up where?
I was sitting on the curb with my next-door neighbor, Laura, and Michelle, watching the kids play roller hockey. They just drove up on the side, just in the middle of the street.
Yes, go ahead.
And Marcus had asked me to get into the car, and I asked him, whose car is it? And he said it's his friend's car. So I hesitated, but I got in.
You got into the car?
Yes, Your Honor.
You ever seen that car before?
I saw him driving it before, like a day before.
Okay. Miss Rita, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to understand something. I have this crystal ball that lives with me all the time, so I know everything. So I want you to forget whatever story you told your mother. I want you to forget whatever story you told the police. Because back here, I have this little crystal ball, and I'm going to ask you all kinds of good questions, okay? You saw him driving the car the day before. Where?
Around the apartments.
And was he driving the car erratically? You know what that word means?
Oh, Your Honor.
Was he driving it crazy?
Oh, yes, Your Honor. Well, not really. He was just driving fast.
Yeah?
Just around the apartments. We saw him drive by a couple times.
How fast was he driving?
I'm not quite sure.
Was he driving fast enough for you to say, boy, you shouldn't be driving so fast around the apartment complex?
No, Your Honor.
Well, when you say he was driving fast, what does that mean? Like this? What does that mean?
Like, he was just, driving, by, just, zoom, and then, turning around. Well, the people next to me were like, don't drive so fast. The people that were by Laura.
So he wasn't driving correctly?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that was the day before?
Uh-huh, or the night before.
So why would you get into a car with somebody who you knew was driving crazy?
I was pressured, Your Honor.
How were you pressured, Miss Rita?
Well, he was just like, come on, get into the car and all this stuff.
Huh. So now you get into the back seat of the car. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
How'd you get into the front seat of the car?
We had went out of the apartments.
Try looking at me when you're talking.
Yes, Your Honor. We had exited out of the apartments and went on the street called Tom and turned, and we were like down this really long street, and he told Fallon to get into the back seat. So Fallon had gotten into the back seat, and he had stopped the vehicle, but he had gotten to the passenger seat, and he told us, like, get into the driver's seat, Mary, and drive.
Just a second. We went that very fast. You're in the back. Marcus moves over to the passenger seat. Is that right?
No, he had stopped the vehicle, Your Honor.
I
on the side.
understand that. He stopped the vehicle before he moved into the passenger seat, and then he said to you, you get in the front and drive?
Yeah, he said, Mary, get into the front and drive. And I was like, I don't know how to drive. I've never drove before, you know. And then he was just like, come on, do it. Just get in there. And so I got into the driver's seat, and he told me to hold down the brake, and he put the car in drive, and it started moving a little bit. And my one foot was on the gas and one foot was on the brake, but I wasn't pushing any of the pedals but the brake. And some people were standing right there, and they were pointing over at us and talking. And he had asked me to. He said, "Go real fast, just drive." And I said, I'm not going to drive." And so he had took both of his hands and pressed my knee down.
That's what you wrote here. Is that the story you gave your mother? Is that the story you gave your mother?
Yes, Your Honor.
You think your mother believed you?
I suppose so, Your Honor.
I don't. Not for a minute. Not for a minute. Now, do you go to school?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you pass your subjects?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does she pass her subjects?
She's failing a couple of them.
Well, then she's not passing them. You have to tell the truth. I'm going to bring you back to something I said before. I want you to think about this. I know everything about you. Everything. Now I'm going to ask you the same question. Are you passing all your subjects?
No, Your Honor.
Which subjects are you failing?
Band and algebra.
What subjects do you do well in?
English.
Any?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead, which ones?
English, and I do well in PE and health.
In health? How old are you?
15, Your Honor.
When you got into the car and got into the driver's seat, was there a key in the ignition?
Yes, Your Honor, there was.
There was. Did you have to turn the key?
No, Your Honor.
Because it was already on.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, after you started to go very fast down this straightaway, tell me what happened.
Okay, I turned left because I thought I could just pass down the street, and then a truck...
No. Explain that to me very slowly. What do you mean you thought you could just pass down the street?
Well, I mean, like, just turn so preventing from hitting that wall. There's like a wall right here, and there's a pole, like, right next to it. But a truck was coming down the other street, because there's a street right here, and I thought it was going to hit the truck, so I turned it this way, and it had flew up on a curb and hit the pole.
And then what happened?
Marcus said, run, so we all got out of the car, and we took off running.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Shondell Fox says former neighbor 15-year-old Mary Rita stole her car and wrecked it. Mary says she was coerced by a neighborhood thug named Marcus.
Okay. Miss Rita, when were you arrested?
About 10 minutes after the car had crashed.
How do you think you were identified as the driver?
They had all found us. They all got us.
How did they get you?
Because they were driving up the street, and they told us to stop and put our hands on the hood.
So that the police were coming from the other direction?
Yeah, there's like a street right next to the street.
Okay, and you're running, you and your 3 friends. Is that right?
No. Marcus took off the other way. He got away.
He did? Did they ever arrest Marcus?
No, Your Honor.
Really? Is that right?
Correct.
And where does Marcus live?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Try think very, very hard. Where does he live?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Approximately where does he live?
I suppose the house is next to the apartments. That's where he always walks. I don't know. Used to when I knew him.
What do you mean? You used to when you knew him?
I don't see him anymore after the accident or anything.
Well, didn't you call him or have your mother call him after this incident happened and say, listen, you really had possession of this car. Why don't you come forward?
We didn't know his full name. I didn't know. She said she didn't know.
Well, now she says she knows.
I made her go to the library at the school and look at the last name in the yearbook.
What school did he go to?
Cheyenne High School, Your Honor.
Did you ultimately give that information to the police?
My husband did.
Good. Okay. Now, can I see the estimates for the damage to your car? See how easy that was, Miss Fox?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, I want you to tell me, Miss Rita, why you think you are not responsible for all the damage to the plaintiff's car.
Because I didn't steal it, Your Honor.
So what? You drove it recklessly.
Yes.
You drove it recklessly, and you want me to tell you, Miss Rita, you told your mother that the reason you had the accident was because Marcus took his hands and pushed it against your knee, forcing you to press onto the gas, which caused the accident. Is that right? That's what you told your mother. That's what you just told me.
Yes, Your Honor.
2 minutes later, you told me that you were making a left turn in order to avoid a truck and a pole and a brick wall. You were making a left turn. You didn't say anything about Marcus holding his hands on your leg while you were trying to... Do I need you?
Sorry.
You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, if you want to go to the effort of having your parents find out where Marcus lives and suing him for his portion, if there is a portion, of the damage, if some judge believes that he was partially responsible for this, you're free to do that. Miss Fox doesn't have to chase down Marcus. You're the one who wrecked her car. What kind of punishment did you receive as a result of this?
I got 247 hours community service and a $350 state fee fine.
What kind of community service are you supposed to do?
I work at municipal pools, cleaning.
Have you started that yet?
Yes, Your Honor.
How many hours?
I've done 123, I believe.
Can I see your photographs of the accident, please? You're lucky you weren't killed. Where did you leave your keys, Miss Fox?
My mother had the set of keys.
Were there keys in the car?
No.
How did they start the car?
I guess they jimmied it, or with one of the tools that were left in the car.
So there was no key in the car?
No.
That's what I thought. All right, so the value of the car is $3,700. How much did you get from insurance?
From insurance, we got $1,407.
So your actual losses were $2,293, is that right?
Correct.
Expensive mistake. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,293. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He stole his car, and they should have went after him for it.
Sometimes it's not who you're with, it's what you do when you're with certain people. I wanted her to learn a lesson by community service hours.
I think that community service will not teach her a lesson.
Community service sometimes is not enough. You do the best you can on raising your children, you try to teach them right.
Obviously, you should know not to get in a car if you don't have a driver's license and drive it.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Smith versus Wedhoff. Step forward, please.
45-year-old homemaker Bernadette Smith is suing 53-year-old teacher Joanne Wedhoff for running her down in her car. Bernadette says she and Joanne have a history of bad blood.
Miss Smith, according to your complaint and Miss Wedhoff's answer, the two of you have a past history that goes back to the time when your child was in kindergarten.
Yes.
And there was some very bad feeling that arose between the two of you. You didn't like the way she was teaching your child, and there were complaints filed against her. To make a long story short, you haven't liked each other for a long time. Is that right?
Yes.
You claim that the defendant purposely hit you with her car while you were riding your bike.
She tried to run me down.
Oh. She tried to run you
Yes.
down? Okay. Go ahead. Let me hear.
Well, I was riding my bike, which I do all the time, and I'm riding east on Matthews, a block over from where I live, and I'm looking behind me as I'm riding, which I always do.
Okay.
All of a sudden, I see this car coming. I hear this car coming, and first it was coming slow, then it speeded up. It was a van right in front of me, so I tried to get in front of the van, but before I could,
What do you mean that there was a van right in front of you?
There was a van parked in front of me as I was heading to the corner.
Okay.
It was parked.
Okay, so there's a van parked in the lane where you were riding.
Yes.
And a car was behind you.
Coming, yes.
And you said speeding up.
Yes.
And so you were trying to get around this van before the car that was behind you.
Yes.
Why didn't you wait until the car passed you if it was speeding up?
It wasn't speeding at first.
Well, you told me that
it was a ways. I was just a few feet from the van, and I just to go around it, you know, to get to the corner. I had no idea this car was going to speed up.
Go ahead.
And when she saw me, she speed up and tried to hit me. So I fell off my bike onto the van, which broke my fall. And when I looked up and realized who it was, I realized it was her.
So?
And she kept going. She didn't stop to see if I was okay or anything, because she can't say, now I know she knew who I was, or she would have stopped. So I think she deliberately tried to run me down. No, she didn't. She would have hit the van if she would have hit me. I don't think she wanted to hit the van. She wanted to hit me.
Okay. What kind of work do you do for a living?
I'm a teacher.
How long have you been a teacher?
15 years.
Okay. You were on your way, according to your answer, to school?
Right.
Back to
to run
school?
an errand, yes.
Okay. Do you remember seeing the plaintiff?
Yes. I was driving down the middle of down the street. It's a one-way street, and there was a bicycle in front of me in the middle of the street. As I approached the bicycle, there was a woman on the bicycle. She moved over to the left, and as I got right abreast of the bicycle, I realized it was Bernadette Smith. And I just started driving, and she screamed at me, and she kind of wobbled a little, and I just kept driving straight, and I got to the stop sign, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and I didn't see her on the floor, ground, anything. She was still on the bike. So I turned left and went right to my school, which is a block and a half away, and immediately went in to the principal to tell her what happened. Because there was a restraining order against Miss Smith, there's been a lot of trouble. And the principal...
In your favor?
In my favor.
In your favor?
Yes.
Go ahead.
The principal moved my parking space so my car would be in clear view of the office at all times.
See, now she claimed she didn't even know who I was. This is what she put in her police report, that she didn't even know who I was. She saw a person. Then now she's saying she knew it was me. Yeah, you knew it was me after you tried to hit me.
Ms. Smith, she said she saw a woman riding a bike in front of her. She didn't realize it was you until
she knew. Yes, she did know it was me.
Well,
she
how
had
do I
seen
know
me
that?
before. She seen me before riding my bike in the neighborhood, because I ran into her one day specifically when she was walking her class up the street on foot. And I seen her, but she knew, so she knew it was me.
Can I ask you a question? I don't know whether she knew it was you or not. She'd have to be some nut to try to run you down. That would be ridiculous. Why is there a restraining order against you in favor
Well, at the
of
time,
defendant?
they said I was a troublemaker because I was trying to find out why she was letting so many things go on that was concerning my daughter in her class and never did anything about it.
How long ago was your daughter?
My daughter is now 17 years old.
Your daughter is 17, so
Yes.
she hasn't been in the defendant's class for how many years?
She was in her kindergarten class, so it's been a while.
A while? How about 11 years?
Yes.
What I want to know is if there's a restraining order now.
No, there is not a restraining order now.
Oh, there
She's
is not.
talking about a restraining order back then when she lied to get a restraining order.
So that there is no restraining order in effect now?
No, not that I
Not for the
know
last
of.
10 years?
No, exactly.
No, it was in 96 it ended.
In 96? May I see it, please?
Oops, sorry.
96.
Everything in there was she lied about.
Just a minute.
All lied about, so they wouldn't have to deal with the problems. Because I have the restraining order here too, if you want to see it. This is the last one that I know of, and everything in here is a lie.
Okay. Now, was the defendant granted a restraining order against you?
Yes.
And that was well after the time that your daughter left the school.
I was still trying to handle the problems that was going on. My daughter went to school up until she was in the 6th grade there, so I still had to look at her and see her every day. She still caused problems for my daughter and I every day. I had to take my daughter out of the school district, period, because of the problems that they caused. She would make my daughter feel like an outcast in class.
Miss Smith, Miss Smith, you're talking about 11 or 12 years ago. I'm not interested. All I'm interested in, as recently as 6 years ago, the courts granted her a restraining order against you. So there has to come a time when you get over whatever sense that you had that your daughter wasn't treated fairly by the defendant, who was her kindergarten teacher. So you have to get over it. I find that there is absolutely no evidence that she attempted to run.
I have gotten over that.
By the way, before I rule on this case, let me look quickly. Let me see your hospital records.
I didn't go to the hospital, and I never told anybody that I went to the hospital.
Just answer my question, madam. So you have no hospital records?
No, I don't.
Can I see your doctor's report?
I don't have a doctor's report because I didn't get hurt. I fell. The van broke my fall.
Oh, good. So you weren't hurt?
Yeah, but she
so what are
tried
you
to
doing
run
here?
me down.
She did not. Goodbye. Case dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
62-year-old pest control technician Dennis McGrew are suing their former friend, 19-year-old construction worker Robert Pasco, for stealing their collection of Pokemon cards.
Order. Come to order. All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 114 on the calendar in the matter of Barbaras, McGrew versus Pasco. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Ms. Barbaras, according to the complaint that I've read, you and your family have known the defendant from the time he was a little boy. And he grew up, he was in need of a job, and you gave him a job as a security person in your business. So far correct?
Yes, ma'am.
While he was acting in his capacity as a security guard, it is your claim that he stole a very valuable collection of Pokemon cards that you had kept in a safe or some sort of safe place in your place of business, and it is your belief that the defendant stole them. So far correct?
So far, so good.
The defendant says he did not do it. So tell me when he came to work for you.
Last summer, Robert came to me and said that his mother had thrown him out and he needed a place to live and a job. And I've done that before with Robert. I've given him jobs before. So I gave him my key to my building and I said, okay, you can sleep.
What kind of building is it?
Pest control. I own a pest control
No,
company.
that's incorrect.
Shh.
Sorry.
We'll get there. Go ahead.
I said, you can stay here at night and you can work during the daytime. We'll give you odd jobs with the handymen or going with the men, etc.
Okay.
And he did that. Erratic at best. I called his mother and let her know that he was there. And he became irresponsible. We took the key back.
When did you take it back?
2 to 3 weeks after he first came.
Go ahead.
Several of Robert's friends, I don't remember now if it was 4 or 5 of them, came in one day and they said that we're returning your property. Robert stole your cell phone, a gold watch, and Pokemon collections. He sold the cell phone to us, and he's selling the Pokemon cards in Creekside, which is, Creekside is an apartment building in the back neighborhood.
All right, now you can't tell me what these people said to you, but you can tell me what they did. They came into your place of business with property.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when had that property been stolen?
Probably the day before or 2 days before.
Where
the
were
same day we took the key back.
Where was the Pokemon collection kept?
In glass cabinets and in the office.
When did you notice it missing? Immediately?
No, I didn't notice them missing until they came in and told us that he was returning the cell phone and that he had Pokemon collections, the books.
Okay. Did you go over to Creekside?
Mr. McGrew did.
What happened when you got there, Mr. McGrew?
Tried to confront Robert. He ran.
Where did you confront him?
In Creekside Apartments.
Was he in an apartment or was he outside?
No, he was outside.
Did he have anything with him?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
What did you say to him when you approached him?
I asked him for my Pokemon cards.
They were your cards?
Her and I had purchased them together for the 2 kids here and 2 godchildren.
So you went over to Creekside to try to confront Robert, who saw you, you say he ran.
Yes.
But he had nothing with him.
No.
Did you ever get back any of the property?
Some of the Pokemon cards got back through school, through his little brother. He was passing them out.
Whose little brother?
Robert's. He was passing them out. Robert had given him the cards.
You don't know that? You didn't see that. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Did you see that?
I have them.
You have the cards that were given back to you that were in the possession of his younger brother.
Yes.
How old is your younger brother?
8 years old.
Your younger brother didn't have a key to the premises, did he?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, they were cards. I'm not speaking to you.
My mom can verify that, Your Honor. They had given my little brother some cards. My mom can verify that.
Did you ever confront Robert about taking the cards?
Yes, I did.
When?
When I caught him at Creekside Apartments. He admitted...
That same day?
Yes. And he admitted to me at that time that he took them and that there was no way I could prove it.
What did he say?
He said, I took your Pokemon cards and there's no way you can ever prove it.
What did you say to him?
I can't say that here.
Yes, you can.
I told him he's a lion.
You said that he ran from you.
He ran from me.
Tell me about how you approached him.
I pulled up to the street. I told him to get in my truck. He got in my truck. I started to drive. He got out and ran away.
Just a minute. So he didn't run away initially?
Oh, no, because I grabbed him by his arm.
We're not following each other. I'm going to get this story my way. You drove up in your truck to Creekside.
Yes.
Did you get out of your truck?
Yes.
What did you do when you got out of your
He
truck?
walked up and acted like nothing was wrong.
So he
Still
didn't.
a friend.
Shh. So he didn't run away initially.
Not until I put him in the truck.
What did you say to him when you got out of your truck?
I confronted him about the Pokemon
What did you
collection.
say to him?
I asked him, where's my Pokemon collection?
And what did he say?
He said he didn't have it.
And what did you say to him?
I told him to get in the truck. We're going to go
And-
back to the shop.
And what did he say to you?
He got in the truck. Then I started to take off, and he jumped out and ran.
And that was what happened on that day. Is that right?
No, I went back to the shop. A friend of mine came back with me to Creekside, found Robert, trapped him upstairs on some steps. He was hiding up behind this big guy, a friend of mine, and we had the police called.
Yes.
Police came, did nothing, took him in on some warrant that he had.
Just a second. When you had him trapped in the stairwell, was there any conversation that you had?
Yeah, he told me that he did it and there was no way I could ever prove it.
Is that when the conversation took place with regard to the Pokemon cards?
Yes,
Did you tell that to the police?
Yes.
When the police came?
yes.
Did they write it down?
They took a report.
Do you have the report?
No, I do not.
Why not?
Because it was never filed. They don't file reports in Simi Valley.
Of course they do. You don't have the police report?
There was never a police report made, Your Honor.
There was a police report,
There was a
Your
police
Honor.
report made, the officer's name.
Why didn't you get a copy of the police report?
They never filed a police report. They have a number 0018796 of
That's
some
a report. That's a report. Listen!
Yes.
Police respond, they have to file a report whenever they respond to a location. Do you understand that?
Not in Simi Valley.
Simi Valley is still part of this world.
Not
Still
really.
part of the United States.
Not really.
There's no crime.
We don't have crime in Simi.
Everything's civil.
Your Honor, if I may say,
Sure.
he did
I'm not
actually...
ready for you yet.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for you yet. I'm
I
not so
am.
sure you didn't do this.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
You understand clearly what I'm saying to you.
I understand.
I have very, very good intuition. Very good intuition.
I understand.
Good.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Portia Barberis and Dennis McGrew say former friend 19-year-old Robert Pasco stole their collection of valuable Pokemon cards. Robert says they've got the wrong guy.
Now, how many times have you been arrested?
Few.
How many?
3 or 4.
For what?
Drugs.
Drugs.
Under the influence.
Using or selling?
Using.
Ever been arrested for possession?
No.
Of course, you had to have them in your possession in order to use them,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
What kind of drugs were in your possession when you were arrested?
I was under the influence of a controlled substance.
What?
Methamphetamine.
Where did you get them?
Friends. Wherever I...
That costs money.
I never...
Listen to me. That costs money.
Sure.
How old were you when you were arrested for the first time?
16.
How old were you when you started to work for them?
17. Between 17 and 18.
How old were you when the Pokemon cards were stolen?
18.
Immediately prior to the Pokemon cards being stolen, when was your last arrest?
When I was 18.
Was it before or after the confrontation with the plaintiffs?
Before.
Before.
Yes.
How much before?
Maybe about 4 or 5 months before.
And what happened with that case?
I was put on probation. Went to jail for 3 days.
And prior to that, were you also placed on probation?
To another charge? No.
One of the 3 or 4 other cases of arrest.
I was placed on probation once, and that was for the drug. That was it.
What happened to the other arrests?
They were just put all together into one.
Oh,
I got charged with diversion.
Forfeit.
I got put on diversion.
You
Your
got a
Honor.
forfeit.
I got put on diversion. I violated it. They reinstated it when I messed up and got the other ticket.
Since July of 2000, have you been arrested?
Yes, I have.
Huh?
Yes, I have.
For what?
Failure to appear.
Failure to appear for what?
Court date.
Don't play
It was
with me.
diversion. I violated my diversion again. I did not finish
How
my
did you
classes.
violate your diversion?
Did not finish my classes.
What about drug screenings?
Never had one dirty test, Your Honor.
So why were you violated?
For not going to my diversion classes. They're drug
Why
meetings.
didn't you go to your diversion classes?
No real excuse. I just didn't have the money at the time to get out there. It was in a different valley.
Well, what are you doing now?
Right now, I'm working.
For whom?
My mom's friend is a construction worker doing concrete.
How long have you been working for them?
Just for about a week and a half.
And before that, what were you doing?
I've had many jobs. I mean,
You can't hold
I've
on
worked
to
at
a
a
job
fast
if
food
you're
place.
doing meth. You know that.
That was before that, Your Honor. I've been clean for quite a few months now.
How many is quite a few months?
4.5 months.
Were these people nice to you?
In the beginning, yes, Your Honor. They were. They opened their arms and they did let me stay in there and they did offer me a job.
And that was at a time when things weren't going so well at home. You were using drugs off and on. You were arrested a lot.
Correct.
Did you need money back in the summer of last year?
No. I just needed food in my stomach and a place to sleep.
Well, you were using some drugs last
Not at the time when I was homeless. When I got kicked out, I just stopped using drugs. I couldn't afford it, Your Honor. I was
You
worried
could
about...
afford it if you sold Pokemon cards.
Never stole those Pokemon cards, Your Honor.
You liar.
For one, Your Honor, I was
Don't
never
speak.
given a key to stay there. They would never give me that key, Your Honor.
Robert.
Robert.
They never gave me a key there.
Just a
Robert.
second.
No, you guys never gave me a
Shame
key.
on you.
Just
You
a
had
second.
my key.
Just a second. Did you
Shame on
physically?
you.
Did you physically give him the key?
Yes, I did.
Tell me when.
When he first came there and said he didn't have any place to stay, I called his mother. She said, okay, I know where he's at. And I gave him my key.
She never gave me her key, Your Honor.
Yes, she did.
No, she did not, Your Honor.
Of course she did.
She didn't trust me enough to give me her key. Okay, one of my friends had stolen that cell phone. When my friend came in there and stole that cell phone,
Your Honor,
he
nobody
had got-
trusts him enough.
Listen, now leave. Leave. Leave.
So the cell phone had been stolen by one of my friends, and I took responsibility for that and told him to go turn it back in because it was my job that was getting...
Just a second. Now we're getting somewhere, Robert. How did you know one of your friends stole the cell phone?
He had told me.
The cell phone was in the office.
Correct.
How did your friend get into the office?
Doors open all the time. They're open 24/7. I was not with him, Your Honor. He had showed me the cell phone. He said, look, I took this from Dennis. I said, well, you got to return it because you're going to get me in trouble. They're going to think I stole it. You got to go return it.
What's his name?
Kevin.
Where does he live?
Didn't see me.
And so you're telling me that this Kevin is the one who stole the cell phone,
Correct.
and because you told him to go return it, he went in and returned the cell phone.
Yeah, it was my roof over my head and the food in my stomach. I wasn't ready to risk it. He was a friend, but not obviously a good one, stealing from my work.
Did you come into some money recently?
Not recently, but it's...
When?
It's supposed to come in, Your Honor.
How much money?
A couple million.
Couple of million.
Correct. For a wrongful death of my father.
Mm-hmm. When was the last time you lived with your father?
I never lived with my father.
I would assume that that's one of the reasons why you've pursued this.
I didn't know about
2 days after my mom had called her and told her about my father dying, she decided to file a lawsuit because she knew I was getting some money. I had seen Dennis in the pawn shop. He confronted me. He said, started saying all these words to me, bad words. I hope you die exactly how your father died. If not, I would do it myself, but I want my money. It's exactly what he said.
Your Honor, do the boys get to speak?
About what?
About getting the cards back from Austin and the time that I saw Patty in the parking lot and I reached into her front seat and picked up a $500 card that belonged to this collection.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's a lie. Well, I'd like to know when that happened. Patty is his mother.
Yes.
Okay, let me hear.
She pulled up to the parking lot when I was picking the kids up from school, and I went over to her and I said, it's probably not a good idea, because I had gone to the principal
this?
About 3 weeks after this whole thing happened, and I says, it's not a good idea for Austin to be bringing these Pokemon cards to school and are giving them to friends. These are some valuable cards. And I opened the door and I was talking to her and I reached on the seat and I picked up a Blastoid, first edition Blastoid, Japanese. And I says, there's one of them right there. And she said, well, take it if it belongs to you. I said, it's about a $500 card. And I says, no, you keep it because when the police get around to getting there, you'll still have it and you'll present it to them. She says, well, I still have all the rest of them on the shelf at home. And then she called me and said that she found them in a dumpster. That they had found all of these Pokemons, all these valuable Pokemons. I mean, we're talking $5,000 right there in what we retrieved in the dumpster. So I immediately went to the dumpster. There was a lot of trash there, but there was not one card, not one piece of plastic, not one shred of all of these thousands of dollars worth of Pokemon that
I believe
collection.
You. Listen to me.
Okay.
I believe you.
Okay. Thank you.
How does that tie into him?
She has him in her car.
She says they found him in a dumpster.
Oh,
Do I believe
that was
her?
weeks later.
Do I believe
I know
her?
You don't believe her. I didn't believe it either.
No.
You haven't heard the truth yet. I don't have a car, first off. I have a truck. She couldn't even see into my truck to see on my seat. She's not tall enough.
Open the door.
Oh, you opened my door now. Okay.
Hey! We have the cards with his name on them.
With whose name on them?
His name. This is his collection. The cards that were stolen are in his possession now with the values on them and his name on them.
Yes.
He has those.
Where did
he
you
got
get
them from Robert's little brother?
I understand that. There has to be a nexus between Robert's little brother.
The little brother said Big Brother gave him to him.
Listen to me. That's hearsay. Now, if you were in a criminal court and the little brother were here or in the courthouse so that a judge could say to the little brother, where did you get those cards from? Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I understand, and I understand the little niche in the law there.
It's not a niche in the law.
It's going to help him be found not guilty so that 6 little kids have lost their Pokemon collection.
They've lost it anyway.
That's true.
They've lost it anyway.
But at least they have got justice if you decide that he did
I'm
this.
telling you, I've
can't.
told you that he did it.
I agree.
I believe he did it.
But it doesn't
In
mean
order
justice
for me,
is going to be served
you're,
here.
you're absolutely right. Robert, I want to tell you something. There's a piece of me, sir, that says that you are either personally involved or know how it came about that this valuable card collection was stolen. This is a card collection that has probably been in the same location for a very long time. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, ma'am.
It just so happens, coincidentally, that some meth freak who they gave a break to was living in the back room at a time when the Pokemon cards disappeared. Now, I don't believe him that you confessed.
No.
I don't believe him that you confessed. I believe you did it. I would love to be able to make a legal finding that you did it, but I don't believe you confessed. I just want you to understand me. I believe you did it, but I don't believe you confessed to him. He's a hothead. He thought that that would make a very good part of the case because he was told by the police in Simi Valley, that's still part of this universe I'm speaking, that without a confession, you'd have no case. So I believe that he made that up. But I think you did it. I can't make a judgment, but I think you did it. Only you know whether you did it or not.
I know.
Oh, I know.
I know I didn't.
Oh, I know you did. I feel it, but that's not what courts are about. Now, the fact that the mother makes up some cock and bull story that they came from a dumpster, right?
Good one, huh?
It's a good one. It's a good one.
You haven't heard from me. You haven't heard from me what the story is. You've heard from her.
All I want to know is, well, you want to tell me that your son told you that his older brother gave him the cards?
My son can tell you because my son was with me, calling me at school.
I don't want to
tell
call
you.
him. I listen to
He'll
me.
tell you.
I don't
He was
wanna...
with me when we found him.
She had given him cards.
And I don't know that they were her cards. They were in baggies, a bunch of them. I don't know that they were hers. I called her immediately
Your
when I
son
found them.
Stole the cards. Isn't a question in my mind. He knows it, I know it, and he knows that I know it, but she can't prove it. So, live with it.
Why didn't she
Case
come to
is
my house
dismissed.
and get them?
Parties are
Suing her former friend, 28-year-old service advisor Lori Strange, for the cost of a bridesmaid's dress after Lori uninvited her to the wedding. Lori is countersuing, claiming Amber convinced some guests not to attend.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. United States case number 280 on the calendar in the matter of Pennington versus Strange. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
You two ladies, according to this complaint that I've read, were very good friends, and you were getting married. You asked the plaintiff to be your matron of honor at the wedding. She agreed. She purchased a dress, which she paid for. There was some sort of a disagreement. You were uninvited to the wedding and uninvited to be part of the bridal party. You want to be reimbursed for the dress, as well as, according to you, a lot of mental anguish, which we'll get to in a minute. The defendant has a cross-complaint for some sort of an assault and undermining some guests' appearance at the wedding. She said that you convinced some people not to come to the wedding, and she's got a lot of mental anguish, too. She's also countersuing for an assault. Okay, very sad. How long had you been friends?
8 years.
When was the wedding planned?
September 14th of this year.
Okay, so now tell me what happened.
Okay, on September 8th, it was on a Saturday, Lori and I and a few of our friends decided to go out. It was a week before her wedding. Lori didn't want anything big because at the time her father was sick, so she didn't know if she had to cancel or not, so she did, you know, she didn't want anything big. You
mean like a bachelorette party?
Yes. So we had decided to go to a pizza place, San Fratello's. At San Fratello's, we waited for about an hour. We were downstairs talking. Then they came up and they got us to sit at our table. And while we were sitting there, they were just talking about things they had did the night before. Now the night
Who was talking about?
it was Lori and the girls who were sitting at the table, the people standing up in the wedding. Now I was
other members of the wedding party.
Yes, her family. Okay. I have a letter from Lori.
Tell me letter. So what happened? So they were talking about something that they had done the evening before.
Right. They were altering dresses. They were doing party favors, and they were making seating arrangements. All of that I was excluded from, okay? Didn't understand. So they're talking about how they had a good night that Friday night, blah, 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 this. And I asked Lori, when did you plan on telling me about this, Lori? And I can't remember quoted words, but it was basically, you know, it was no big deal, blah, 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 this, and she went downstairs in the bathroom. I therefore followed her. We were both upset. Lori and I were talking. She said it was nothing to hurt my feelings. She wanted to have a family get-together. And I told her, you know, that it hurt my feelings. I was hurt. She started telling me there was a bunch of her family members that did not like me, okay? And
so, something happened in the bathroom, according to her.
Yes, we got in an argument. It wasn't an argument, it was just basically our sides of the story, you know.
But according to you, nothing physical took place there?
No, nothing at all. She was in the bathroom stall.
Okay, so nothing physical took place, according to you. Did you spend the rest of the evening together?
Yes, we did.
When did she uninvite you to the wedding?
I came home on a Wednesday, September 12th, and after work I went in my mailbox and there was a letter in there from Lori, and I read the letter, and she uninvited me.
Okay. How much did you spend on the wedding?
$115 for the dress, and that was it.
Well, then tell me why you're suing her for
I am
$115 for the
her-
dress, $885.
Okay, I am suing her $115.50 for the dress.
Right.
Okay, I am suing her for my lost wages because I took off of work that day.
Which day?
Friday, the day of the wedding, September 14th.
Yes.
Okay. I am suing for my husband's lost wages because he also took off of work. And I am suing for $500 mental distress because what she did was hurt me, and she didn't just hurt me, she hurt a lot of other people.
You don't get paid for that, Ms. Pennington. You don't get paid for hurt feelings. And you don't get paid for your husband's lost wages. If he wanted to go to work, he would have gone to work. And you don't get paid for your lost wages. You change your mind, you want to go to work, you go to work. Your dress cost $115.50. Okay. Now, let's hear your side of the story. Tell me first, because I read your answer. What happened in the bathroom?
When we were in the bathroom, I had walked away from the table, went down to the bathroom, and actually I was doing my business in the bathroom when she swung open the door. So, of course, I had to get up and, you know, put my clothes on and everything, you know, and I tried to get out of the bathroom. She pushed me, and she did it twice because I kept trying to get out of the bathroom. And as I was trying to get out of the bathroom, Tammy was in there trying to tell her to let me go. She's like trying to say, calm her down. My girlfriend Lisa was in the washroom also, and the waitress and the owner were. She grabbed my arm, and as I kept trying to get out, she would swing me back twice. I finally got out of the bathroom. I mean, and during all that, she even told the restaurant owner to F off, you know, and it was just, I finally got out. Then the police came.
Were you injured?
Huh?
Were you injured?
No.
Okay. So if one is not injured, then you don't get compensated for injuries if you're not injured.
Correct.
You had an argument with your girlfriend. She pushed you. So what is your countersuit about?
My countersue is about people that did not show up for the wedding.
Well, tell me about that.
Well, there was 23 people that I had invited to my wedding that I have been friends with because of her. When we met, they were all, you know, it was the group of people we hung around with. I invited them and her family that I was very close to. None of them showed, not one. And, you know, I lost all that money from the wedding, of course. You know, it was a tough decision for me to make this. I mean, if you're good friends, you don't push somebody, you don't grab them.
You also don't tell them that they're not invited to a wedding.
Miss Pennington.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Speak not. Go ahead.
And I feel that, you know, because of that, it was not my fault. She did not have to be that vulgar. She did not have to do that in the bathroom. She could have called me.
Listen, there's no question. You had an argument in the bathroom. What makes you think that everything is worth a lawsuit?
It's not.
It's not. You're absolutely right. So the argument is not worth a counterclaim. And if I understand your part about the guests, what you're saying is she convinced certain guests not to attend the wedding because she wasn't going?
Well, they probably didn't go because she wasn't going to be in it, so they figure, why
I had
go?
no control over that.
Just a second.
I mean...
Hey, first of all, she's anticipating what I'm saying, and it's irritating to me. Don't anticipate what I'm going to say.
Cases, real people. Judge Judy. Amber Pennington says after an argument with former friend Laurie Strange, she was uninvited to Laurie's wedding. Amber is suing for the cost of her bridesmaid's dress.
Miss Strange, she's absolutely right. She has no control over these people. If she said to them, I would prefer that you not attend the wedding because she hurt my feelings, they had the option of saying, I'm crazy about Laurie, and I'm going to the wedding anyway. So she has no control over whether they go or not. So you have no counterclaim. Why don't you think that you're responsible for her dress?
Why don't I?
Yeah.
For one, she left it at my house. She came to try it on there, didn't even take it. She said she didn't want it altered. And then she called me when she got the letter saying she wanted her dress back. Well, come and get it. I mean, I'm not going to deliver it to you,
Your Honor,
after
that's
everything that happened.
You don't understand.
Okay.
You were supposed to be matron of honor?
Yes, ma'am.
It has been my experience, my vast experience, that bridesmaids' dresses, and these dresses were made or ordered specifically for the bridesmaids and matron of honor, they're usually the ugliest suckers around. I don't know a living soul who has ever put on one of those dresses again. They buy them, they never look right, they always, you know, look like prom dresses spruced up. So she has absolutely no use for this dress. So what I'm asking you is, whether she had it altered or not, she was intending to be part of your wedding. At the last minute, once the dress was purchased, you told her that you didn't want her to be in the wedding. You had an argument. I mean, it's the kind of argument that probably should have been resolved. She had hurt feelings because she felt she was excluded from a party that you had before. And it may not have been a party, it may just have been a family get-together, but she was very honest with you about her feelings. You may have been a little overly sensitive and a little immature. If some of her family got together the night before and you weren't invited, so what? Why would you want to do anything to spoil her wedding if she was your good friend?
It had nothing to do with spoiling her wedding. It had to be included in her wedding.
It had to do with spoiling her wedding.
It did not.
Miss Pennington, I'm going to try one more time. What you're supposed to say if she's your good friend is, it's not about me. You have to repeat that mantra. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about me. This is her day. It's all about her. And if my feelings were hurt, if I were a mature adult, I would have waited until perhaps a week or so after the wedding, maybe when they got back from their honeymoon, if they went on one and said, I just want to tell you, my feelings were really hurt that I wasn't invited the night before when you had some people over, because I thought we were really good friends. That's what a mature adult does. A spoiled, self-centered person, however, 2 days before or 3 days before a wedding, to create a scene and a fuss to diminish the joy of the wedding, is just that, a selfish, self-centered person. That's you. But you happen to be a selfish, self-centered person who was entitled to her $115.50 back, because she did, in fact, say, you're not welcome at the wedding. You had a loss. You're entitled to that loss. Not all the other things that you're suing for. Your lost wages, your husband's lost wages, your pain and suffering, your break. And Miss Strange, you are not assaulted in the bathroom. You had a fight with your girlfriend in the bathroom. That does not rise to the level of an assault. And the fact that some guests decided not to show up because she had been uninvited also does not create a cause of action. So your counterclaim is dismissed. The judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $115.50. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Never in my mind would I think something like this would happen.
It wasn't upsetting, it was very hurtful.
I can finally say this is over, it's done with.
I lost a very good friend.
I can go on with my life now.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Brown versus Mazzaros, step forward, please.
20-year-old food server Jennifer Brown is suing former friend, 23-year-old student Bridget Mazzaros for unpaid babysitting fees. Bridget claims Jennifer was negligent and is countersuing for the money she's already paid.
Ms. Brown, you are suing the defendant for daycare services that you provided for her children. She has a counterclaim, and her counterclaim is she wants you to pay her back the money that she did in fact pay you because she said you didn't do a good job. That's part of your counterclaim,
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Then she's got some claim with regard to her son being injured while in your care, and then she's got a claim that has something to do with cats. So we'll take that in a minute. When did you start to babysit for her?
I started babysitting on September 1st, 2000.
And how many months did you babysit for her?
I babysat for 5 months.
What was the financial arrangement?
I was getting paid $612 a month.
And according to your complaint, the defendant was getting that money from the state.
Yes.
For daycare services.
Yes.
And the check that she received from the state was how much?
$612.
So far, is that correct?
Yes.
Then there came a time after 2 months, you said, that she stopped paying you.
Yes.
What happened to the 3 months' pay that she is owed?
Well, actually, she's wrong about when she started daycare. She started in the end of August, the first week of the end of August, because my then
Fine. So we got the end of August.
partner, I didn't pay her because she didn't do her job, basically.
Why did you fire her?
I tried to fire her. I actually tried to get my sister in to babysit. I tried putting them in daycare.
No. Why didn't you say, don't come here anymore?
Because my ex-boyfriend wouldn't watch my kids. I was in school. I couldn't.
So what does that have to do with her, madam? Is there something wrong with your brain? If you were not happy with her services, then you fire her.
I did complain to her. She wouldn't listen to me. I'd come home, she'd be under the influence of marijuana, and my son got hurt because of her.
Ms. Mazzaros, what were you doing with the checks that you did, in fact, receive from the state each month for $612? You did, in fact, receive the checks. Now, what were you doing with her checks?
Well, I didn't give her the money, but I didn't spend it either.
You're a hustler. Ms. Mazzaros, if someone was watching my children, and I was dissatisfied with the quality of the care that was provided, I would not let them near my children.
Well, I didn't have a choice. My ex-boyfriend would let her in the door when I wasn't there or I was
You call
sleeping.
the police and you say to them, I need a restraining order because someone is trespassing in my home.
They won't put a restraining order up unless she does something physical to me or my children. I've tried this before.
The $612 was not meant for you.
I didn't spend it. I sent it back to the government.
I don't believe you. You're a liar. You're a liar. Nobody sends a check back to the government.
You do if you're overpaid.
No. You did not send a check back to the government.
I didn't spend the money.
You may not have spent it. You may have put it in a bank someplace, but don't try to tell me that you sent your check back and said, I don't want this check.
No, I sent the cash back. I cashed them and I sent them back. Stop. Hey! Behave yourselves. I'm not lying about that. I'm telling you.
Oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. You are lying. Period. Lying.
Okay.
So you know what happens when you lie? I'm not even going to
lying.
entertain your counterclaim.
I'm not lying in this case.
Oh, you are. You are. If you told me that first you signed the check and sent it back to the government with a little note that said, I'm being overpaid, and then you said, no, excuse me, I didn't do that. I cashed the checks and sent the cash back to the government. That's what you just told me.
Yes, and that's what I did. And I phoned daycare more than once and told them not to send anymore because she was not doing her job.
How much do you believe that?
It doesn't ring right.
No, it doesn't ring right. It doesn't ring right because it's not true. On the plaintiff's claim, without any further ado, I am awarding her $1,836. Now, the only thing I'm going to hear from you, I don't want to hear anything about your cats.
Okay.
All I want you to do is tell me about your son being injured that she's responsible for.
Well, on January 23rd, she was taking my sons, Nicholas and Austin, to speech therapy.
Just 1 second. She picked the children up at your house?
Yes, she took them to
Shh, I'm speaking.
Sorry.
Who was at home when she took the children for speech therapy?
I do believe my ex was. I'm not sure. I was at school.
Had you seen her at all that day?
Had I seen her? Yes, when she came home that night with the kids.
Prior to her coming home?
No.
Had you seen her the day before?
Yes.
Who advised her of the speech therapy appointments?
I probably did at the time, yes.
Of course you did. This person who you didn't trust with your children, who you didn't pay because she was not taking good care of your children, you told her when the speech therapy appointments were and what time she had to be there. So she was taking the children for their speech therapy appointments at your request.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement?
Pretty much, yeah.
Good. So what happened?
Well, they were on an accident, or they were on a bus, public transit bus, on the way home from speech therapy. She let my younger son, Austin, run to the back by himself, left him back there. The bus got into an accident, rear-ended a car, and he went up in his seat. There was no one to grab him from hitting the seat, and he was injured in the accident.
Show me a medical report.
Here you go. I also have the statement from the accident, if you'd like that as well.
No.
Okay.
Did you retain an attorney?
No, we filed a claim with ICBC. It's the Insurance Corporation of British Columbia.
And what happened with that?
Well, because his father wouldn't take him to the doctor to have him checked out a second time, they won't settle it at all.
What was wrong with him?
He hit his neck and his shoulder and his back on the pole when he went up in the air. And they said that due to him being left alone, even if he does get anything, it'll be a very small amount because he was not being attended to properly.
Oh, baloney.
That's what...
Baloney. Now, if a public bus rear-ends a car and somebody is injured, then they are responsible if there is an injury. If you're lying and there was no injury, that he got bumped around a little bit, then they're not going to pay anything.
No, they said that once the case has been settled, that he will get $800 or $900, but it will be in trust until he's 18. But
That's
his father
fine.
has to
That's
settle
all
it.
the case is worth. He got bounced around a little bit. If you were not satisfied with the plaintiff's services, you terminate her. You don't kvetch. I'm dismissing your whole counterclaim because I don't like people who come into court and lie. On your claim, I'm awarding you
Video này thì sẽ chia sẻ với các bạn về một cái gói sản phẩm có tên gọi là sản phẩm An Bình Yêu Việt. An Bình Yêu Việt. Sản phẩm An Bình Yêu Việt là một cái sản phẩm của công ty bảo hiểm nhân thọ AIA. Nó là một cái sản phẩm của công ty bảo hiểm nhân thọ AIA, một trong 18 công ty bảo hiểm nhân thọ lớn nhất tại Việt Nam. Một trong 18 công ty bảo hiểm nhân thọ tại Việt Nam và là một trong top 5 công ty bảo hiểm nhân thọ lớn nhất tại Việt Nam. Đấy, đó là công ty bảo hiểm nhân thọ AIA. Đây là một cái sản phẩm bảo hiểm nó giúp cho khách hàng trải nghiệm một cái cuộc sống trọn vẹn. Đấy, và cái tuổi tham gia của sản phẩm này sẽ là từ 30 ngày tuổi. 30 ngày tuổi là khách hàng đã có thể tham gia được rồi. 30 ngày tuổi và cho đến 65 tuổi. 65 tuổi. Quyền lợi nổi bật của sản phẩm này. Quyền lợi thì sản phẩm có rất là nhiều quyền lợi, và quyền lợi đầu tiên đó chính là cái thời gian tham gia linh hoạt. Tham gia thì khách hàng, thời gian tham gia linh hoạt, khách hàng có thể tham gia 5 năm, 10 năm, 15 năm, 10, 15 năm. Đó là tùy theo nhu cầu của khách hàng tham gia bao nhiêu thì tham gia. Quyền lợi thứ hai là quyền lợi bảo vệ rất là cao. Quyền lợi bảo vệ cao. Quyền lợi bảo vệ cao và chi phí thì lại thấp. Chi phí thấp, mỗi ngày đã theo như tính toán của các chuyên gia tài chính thì các bạn chỉ dành mỗi ngày 1 ly cà phê thôi, chi phí chỉ bằng 1 ly cà phê thôi. Chỉ bằng 1 ly cà phê là các bạn đã có thể tham gia được một cái gói bảo hiểm An Bình Yêu Việt này rồi. Quyền lợi tiếp theo nữa là nếu như mà khách hàng không hút thuốc, khách hàng không hút thuốc thì cái phí bảo hiểm sẽ thấp hơn 10%. Nếu như khách hàng mà không hút thuốc thì phí bảo hiểm sẽ thấp hơn 10% so với những người hút thuốc. Dễ dàng chuyển đổi sản phẩm. Dễ dàng chuyển đổi sản phẩm phù hợp với nhu cầu của khách hàng. Dễ dàng chuyển đổi sản phẩm phù hợp với nhu cầu của khách hàng tại những cái thời điểm nhất định. Rồi, thời gian thì linh hoạt, thời gian bảo vệ, thời gian lại 4 cái quyền lợi nổi bật đây nó sẽ tạo nên cái điểm cái ưu điểm cho cái sản phẩm này, An Bình Yêu Việt. Và nếu như mà khách hàng mà đang cần một cái giải pháp tài chính để bảo vệ cho gia đình mình với một cái chi phí thấp thì khách hàng hãy xem xét và tìm hiểu cái sản phẩm An Bình Yêu Việt của tập đoàn bảo hiểm nhân thọ AIA này nha.